I hate soccer.
So we've been in business for like 2.5 years, I think it is now. We opened, was it 2022?
During COVID, a little bit.
Kind of.
Like
It was
20, like the
2022.
tail end, like 2021.
Yeah, like October 2022, I think it was.
Yeah.
I think that's when we decided to open up the brick and mortar location. So we're about 2.5 years in. I think
Yeah.
that adds up right?
Yeah.
I don't know.
What were you guys doing before? Brick and mortar.
So I was working as a physical therapist assistant at
Okay.
Buffalo Rehab Group. So I was
Yep.
working there. And then you.
I was here and there. I was ECMC for a
Okay.
little bit, working at with all the orthopedic surgeons, and then I transferred over to DuPont, where I was the industrial athletic trainer, injury prevention specialist,
Yeah.
and then kind of stopped that as of last Thursday, and working full time at our business. So,
Yeah.
Yeah.
How many hours are you guys putting in right now? How many classes?
I work every day of my life.
Yeah.
That's how.
You think that you get a business so then you don't ever have to work, but you literally work all the time.
Yep.
I come home and our minds are constantly like racing of like, okay, like how do we continue to grow?
What's
what are
next?
new things that we can do? What are new events that we can put on? How can we collaborate with people? How can we put something like make the community come together and everything? So it never stops. I go to bed and I make sure that I put like the TV on to make sure that like I'm not constantly thinking and just like I'm distracting my brain so I can actually sleep.
But if it's not like Stretch Out Buffalo, we're on the sport field with the athletes and stuff like that. So we have like 8 teams that are associated with right now. So
Good.
yeah.
How did
So
you
it's
guys
good.
collab with?
So I'm an athletic trainer, so I
Right.
kind of am their athletic trainer. So I have standard orders and procedures with a doctor,
Okay.
and I collaborate with local teams and do it that way. And so we do all their recovery work, we do all their mobility work, we do all their their movement based stuff.
Okay.
And then I do all of their kind of athletic training needs.
Yeah, it really depends on the team that we're working with, like what they request from us. So it could just be more athletic training services. So that would be him because I'm not an athletic trainer. And then it could also be more like recovery work. So we're either just bringing our table and stretching them, or if they want to do like a dynamic warm up before practices, we'll do that. Or we'll do like a mobility class specific for those athletes. We'll just kind of make it whatever. We got a big background of information or knowledge that we've learned. So we kind of, whatever the either whether it's a workplace or an athletic place, whatever they request, we'll come in and fulfill those requests.
So you guys do a lot of work where you guys go to the teams.
Yes, but then they also come to us as
And
well.
then they'll also go to you.
Yep.
Yeah.
Got it. Wow. How many different services are you providing right now?
So our main thing is assisted stretching.
Okay.
We're a very, very small business, so it's literally just me and Derek that are actually stretching people.
Right.
And then we also do our classes. So we'll do like different like pop-up classes, whether it's stretch and restore classes, mobility classes, because that is different than just stretching. We'll do like foam roll classes, teaching people how to foam roll.
Okay.
We'll do just educational things. He just ran like a workshop for ankles last month, just to how to build like mobility in the ankles and stability and just make people, their ankles better.
Yeah.
So we'll do things like that. And then we have a recovery room, which has an infrared sauna, a cold plunge, and Normatec compression boots.
Yes.
And then we have some independent contractors with us. So we have a couple massage therapists.
Okay.
We have a chiropractor. And then we also have an esthetician who just recently joined us. She's starting this week. So she's just dipping her feet into being with us. But we try to offer an array of different services, and especially things that kind of go hand in hand with wellness and whatnot. So
Is most of your clientele youth athletes or is it adults?
It's
All
a
over?
broad bank. So we from youth all the way to seniors.
Yeah.
And then from youth players all the way to pro.
Okay.
So we see some of the Bandits guys. We see some of, I don't know if I'm allowed to say that, but see some of those guys. We just came back not too long ago from Florida where we did the NFL Combine training with all the NFL Combine training athletes.
The
So
prospects.
yeah, the
Yeah.
prospects of them. What else did we do? bunch of just
Yeah, I mean, we can really work with an array of people. So, like, we can work with, a young kid that comes in, whatever their background is.
Right.
And I think the oldest person that has come in was 94 years old. And of
Love
course,
that.
it's a different way that you're stretching them,
Yeah.
whether they're, 8 years old versus 94 years old. But I'll tell you, some of those like 80, 90-year-olds, they're in pretty good shape.
Oh, yeah.
So I'm like, wow, this is gold for when I'm their age. But yeah, obviously we just have to kind of figure out like what do we do with somebody that's either a professional athlete, or what do we do with someone who is, I don't want to say a couch potato, but a couch potato, and they don't really do anything.
It's like, what are their needs? What are their
yeah,
goals? What are their
needs?
wants?
Yeah.
And we kind of try to collaborate and formulate something to meet that goal.
Right. And it's funny about the 94-year-olds, because I think about my parents who are, getting older.
Sure.
And it's like, okay, what did you guys do at 40 to make sure that you guys are good at 60?
Exactly,
at
and that's
80?
what the disconnect is, where they're not really, they think they're going to be like this forever, and they're not.
Right.
So
Absolutely. I think that's a really hard concept too for people, young people, to understand, is that when you get older, your body doesn't function the way that it's supposed to. And trying to get young kids to understand that is very hard. But I think as you get older, you obviously start to realize, because I know even 10 years ago, I was only 19, I was a college athlete. Like, I was focusing on working out and mobility, recovery, all that stuff, but I was like, oh, 10 years from now, I'm not going to be in any pain. Like, I'm still young, whatever. But now I'm 29 years old. I got some back pain, and I'm like, oh gosh, it just only gets worse from what I hear from here. But I know now, the more that you take care of your body in your younger years, the more you're going to thrive in your older years. So yeah.
Yeah. I mean, yeah. Absolutely. And I'm 40, and I already have like regrets of how I treated my 30s.
For sure.
But wow. So let's go back to what you were saying about, you created a company and it becomes a job. All you did is buy yourself a job. I hear that a lot with all these entrepreneur coaches and stuff. It's like, you think that you're going to buy.
But the thing is, we were already more or less doing essentially what we're doing now, but in a more specific route.
Yeah.
So, like, we took what I was seeing at the hospital that they were lacking, what she was seeing at the physical therapy assistant that was lacking. We were like, we don't like this. There's no results that people are seeing within themselves. We collaborated and we're like, hey, let's open up a brick and mortar and do these things that are lacking in these different areas. And it's been working. It's been crushing it. So
absolutely.
Yeah.
And that's kind of how I started my training company. Is when you're coaching teams, you kind of get away from the technical foundation and development. And that's why I started PlayMaker, is that you know what, I don't really care about tactics anymore. I just care about the technical development, because I was coaching all over the place, and I figured out, you know what, the technical development is where I want to be, because I coached at all the other levels, and the tactics never really piqued my interest, I guess.
No, I totally agree with that. I mean, I played soccer from first grade, travel all the way to college, so I can definitely understand that.
Yeah.
I think one of the biggest motivating factors for opening up a business like we have is that our medical system has gotten so far away from one, quality of care, and then also just like you're basically like a machine. Not talking bad about my past jobs or anything. I loved where I worked, but you're basically a machine just running through a bunch of people, and the quality of care has gotten so far away, and like you really don't get to know people, and you're helping them, but you're not truly helping them, I felt. And so that was a big motivating factor for us to open up Stretched Out Buffalo, because we can actually spend one-on-one time with people, actually listen to what their needs are. And not that we're treating them here at our business, but we are trying to help them with injury preventative work, and helping them be able to move better, which I kind of felt like in my old settings, it was very hard to do that when I constantly, was given like 6 people at one time, trying to give my energy to everybody in 1 hour. So now that, we can see people one-on-one and actually have a conversation, educate them, because education is huge. I think actually sometimes education is bigger than the hands-on work that we do. So I think having that time with people now where we can talk about, what the human body does, how we can help it, I think is really important and really empowering for a lot of people too.
Yeah.
So.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
When you are working with youth athletes, I want to talk about recovery, because I don't think they do recover. I don't think they know how to recover.
No. So, I mean, anything like 10 and under, or, 10 and under, how fatigued are you actually going to be,
Yeah.
But like when we get to 11, 12, 13, 14, teens, and then we up, lactic acid sets in, fatigue sets in, instabilities, and then like, I don't know, what I'm kind of trying to say is it just sets in, and what we have to do is work on mobility, flexibility, and all that kind of fundamental things, and then we can kind of get where we're going to be, honestly. So
before any of the strength building and everything, are you guys strength based at all, or is it all just body weight mostly, or are you guys doing a weightlifting program and everything like that too?
So that's something that we're going to be tapping into soon.
Okay.
Right now, we've just done more of like the hands-on work.
Yeah.
Actually, what was funny, about 6 months ago, we bought a bunch of equipment to start doing the strength training part, and like the athletic performance part. And then we got super busy with stretch clients, which is amazing. It's not a bad problem to have at all. So then we're like, oh my gosh, wait, we have to take a step back and just kind of focus more on like the mobility stuff. But that is something that we are slowly trying to introduce, is doing more of the strength training, the exercise programming, all of that, whether it's for athletes or just general public too.
When you're okay, the youth athletes are in. Do you guys have a set warm up that you do every single time? Is it dynamic?
Dynamic.
It's always dynamic, because you can't stretch cold muscles, right?
So,
is that real? I don't know the science.
So when I'm doing the 77 football organization, I am there. I do a warm up for them. So it's all dynamic stuff. So when you're about to work out, when you're about to play, it's all dynamic stuff. When we're trying to recover, it's all static. So it's more or less getting your muscles, getting the lactic acid out, getting your muscles kind of lengthened again. And then,
Yeah, when you do any type of warm-up for any type of athletics, whether you're doing a sport or whether you're in the gym, it definitely wants to be more dynamic-based, so more movement-based. There's some studies out there, and of course there's always research that kind of contradicts each other, but there is studies out there saying that if you do static stretching, which is more of like you're holding for a longer period of time, versus your dynamic movement where it's more movement-based, so let's just say like leg swings or like hip rolls, etc., that is actually safer going into your sport or going into the gym, because it helps to relax the muscles, get blood flow to the muscles, but when we are holding like a static stretch, so let's just say we're doing like a hamstring stretch and we're holding it like 30 seconds to a minute, there's research out there saying that it could temporarily kind of decrease some strength within those muscles. But if you do something more dynamic, or like foam rolling pre-exercise or pre-performance, it can actually help to, again, warm up those muscles, but also interesting with foam rolling, it can actually give you a little bit more like pliability. So when you go to do like a plyometric, so like you're like running or you're sprinting or you're doing any of that stuff, it can actually give you a little bit more power temporarily, which is kind of cool. So yeah.
What about band work? Are you guys big into bands, or mostly foam rolling?
So for ankle, so I use a lot of bands for my ankle proprioception in class. I was doing some like anterior posterior glides with a band, but also doing the knee over the toe to improve range of motion and stability. So
do you watch that guy?
Yeah.
Knee over toe guy?
Love it.
Yeah.
Love it.
I have slant boards all over
Super good.
Because I've had Achilles issues.
Yeah.
A couple of my staff members have had calf issues.
Yeah.
And it's all because of tightness, right?
Yeah, it's just a lower chain.
Yeah.
So whatever happens in the ankle happens in the knee, happens in the hip, vice versa. So this is called a kinetic chain. So that's what we kind of focus on at the facility, is what is the actual issue? What's causing the issue? Say you have hip pain, it actually could be your ankle pain. It could be a knee pain. And then whatever happens on your left side could also happen on your right side because you're compensating. So it's a lot of different things that we can kind of figure out, and that's why that one-on-one time is so crucial.
Yeah.
You know,
and that's why injuries stack up on each other. Like you could have a left knee, and it's really because of your right hip, and it's like it's all intertwined.
Exactly.
What's kind of crazy is you can have a pain in your upper body, and it could literally be coming from the way that your big toe is moving. Not to get too much into it, but there's different parts of the body that want more movement versus stability. Our big toe wants good movement up and down. If like we're going through a full gait cycle and you don't have good like extension of that big toe, your gait cycle is completely off, which is kind of just following up that chain there. And then for like another example, let's just say your hips are tight and we don't have good movement there. Your hips are one of those joints that want good movement in them. Let's just say your knees, they want good stability, right? We don't want our knees just kind of like all falling all over the place. And our low back also wants to be nice and stable because we don't want it to be like all over the place, right? So what happens is if we're lacking mobility in one area, it's going to go to the next joint and start to make it, for example, hips, if they're tight, it's going to start to compensate in the low back, and the low back is going to become more mobile versus stable. So then like a lot of like low back pain or tightness can actually come from it working too hard because our hips are tight. But it could literally go all the way down. Like that chain reaction can start from the way that the big toe is moving. So if the big toe isn't moving well, the ankle won't move well. Because the ankle isn't moving well, it might compensate to the knee. Because it's compensating in the knee, it'll compensate in the hip, and then it just keeps going up the cycle there.
Or low back pain, hamstring, hip flexor tightness.
Yeah.
It's huge.
I've had lower back problems since I was like 14. I was a goalkeeper.
Yeah.
So, I always said it was because of, the hard landing and stuff like that.
Sure.
But that makes total sense about the feet, because if I take a tennis ball and roll my feet out, my entire body feels better sometimes.
So actually, I'm reading a book. It's called Anatomy Trains. It's a really great book about fascia and the connective tissue in our body, which is something that's newer to science. But they talk about fascial lines in the body, and you saying rolling your foot out, there's actually a posterior fascial line. It actually connects from above our eyebrows here, goes all the way down behind and underneath our feet. So if you're feeling like hamstring tightness, or maybe you're feeling like neck pain, or you're just feeling kind of like some pain or tightness throughout the whole like backside of the body, taking a ball and rolling the bottom of the foot actually can relieve that whole entire fascial line there, which is kind of crazy. That's why it's kind of funny when you say that. So because you're like, oh, my whole body feels better. Well, it makes sense because you're literally triggering that fascial connective tissue all the way up into your head.
This is why I wanted you guys in. because you guys are going to help so many people. Because, oh my God, like, there's so many things.
I mean, we're not only talking just about tight muscles and joints and stuff like that. We're also talking about biomechanics. So if your biomechanics are wrong, then your foundation's wrong.
And what are your thoughts on pliability with like the TB12 method and all that stuff? Any thoughts? Any opinions?
I haven't really reached into all of that stuff. But
it's a lot of band work, all body weight stuff.
Okay.
Who do you guys study or follow, or who wrote that book? And like
Gary Brecka for sure.
Oh my gosh,
we
follow
huge.
Okay, the
so
hydrogen water guy.
Yeah, it's huge.
Hydrogen
and
water,
we got
cold
one.
plunge, amino
Do you believe in
acids.
that? Do you believe in the hydrogen
Yeah.
water?
Yeah, we
Yeah,
actually
you
have a
feel
hydrogen
good?
water
You
bottle.
feel good
Yes.
after it? Yeah.
Well, I'll be honest, we've been kind of slacking with using ours,
Yeah.
but we do have it. It's in
Yeah.
our house. Actually, we're getting a water filter system in our house.
What, like
so
reverse,
we're reverse
osmosis?
osmosis. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we're actually currently installing that. We're waiting for Amazon to send us a part that we need to install it. And then I plan on using the hydrogen water bottle, because if I'm just putting tap water into that thing, it's working, but it's not working. So you need to put clean water into a hydrogen water bottle. So yeah.
And all this stuff, that is all from our vending machine. That is not, I'm trying to get rid of like drinking out of plastic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, that's
Like talk about
real.
Little microplastics. Yeah.
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 But yeah, no, Gary Brecka is a person that we absolutely love. We follow so much of his
And we
information.
do the perfect aminos with him. It's phenomenal. I do perfect aminos every day. I'm gonna say this creatine, but you have to obviously administer your doctor and see if you can take creatine. If you can't take creatine, all the other supplements.
Right.
But Creatine's super, super, super good for you. I take creatine and amino acids every morning.
Yeah.
And then I, instead of doing the energy energy drinks and stuff like that, I try to do the pre-workout stuff, supplements. So
Yep.
trying to get your caffeine that way.
Yep. Have you tried the gummies, the Create
No.
gummies yet?
No.
I haven't either, but
Yeah.
one of my staff members has, and
Yeah.
she loves it. So.
Yeah. I mean, super good for even women. Like, creatine is super good for women, too.
Yeah, there's a lot more studies that are coming out. I'm a huge podcast, I'm a huge nerd. I love listening to podcasts. I love learning information. If I'm listening to a podcast where I'm not learning something, I'm not interested. So I recently listened to a couple podcasts about how important creatine is for women, especially with women who are eventually going premenopausal and postmenopausal women. It's actually, I think they were saying something about 3 to 5 grams per day a woman should be taking every morning, just to help with hormonal health, and especially obviously women who are having their period and everything can actually help regulate your hormones a whole lot better. So it's something that I've recently tried to be on, but I'm only 3 weeks in, so I can't really tell you a big difference yet, but I'm interested to see for myself how that's going to impact me, but also impact some of our clients too, because we've also told them some of that information.
Yeah. What about Peter Attia?
Haven't really heard of Peter.
Peter Attia, he's on the Gary Brecka realm.
We saw his face probably now.
Speaks a little bit too high for me because
Sure.
I don't understand half
all
of
the
words
jargon
he's saying.
Sure.
So, but he has a book. He's really big into longevity. And going back to the conversation about the 94-year-old is, okay, what do you want to be able to do at 94? And most people would say, I want to be able to pick up a grandkid or a great grandkid or whatever, or I want
Or
to be
walk a
able,
mile, or
walk a mile. I want to be able to get up, obviously, walk unassisted. It's okay, so let's reverse engineer and make sure that we're doing the things at 40 so that at 90 we can do.
And that's
those
what
things.
we kind of are starting to do at Shut Shot Buffalo. Is we have a AI generated functional movement assessment. So it kind of analyzes you and shows all your mobility and flexibility issues that we can target on the table.
Okay.
So
That's just kind of like a helpful motivating factor to also tell people hey, here are your range of motion scores, here's where your deficits are. Either it's weakness, so you need to work on your strength, or we need to work on mobilizing, which is more your mobility, and trying to get people to see a visual thing that's hey, this is what you need to work on to feel better and
This
to
is a
actually
basis.
live the life that you want to live.
Yeah.
So that's a new tool that we just implemented the last couple weeks too.
Is it okay, this is what you should be able to do
well, this is just a base of this is where you're at.
Okay.
It shows range of motion of what normal is.
Okay.
And stuff, and where you lie within that range of motion. So are you outside, are you inside, are you hypermobile, are you lacking in mobility, you're lacking in flexibility. So we put you through probably about 5 different range of motions, body weight stuff, and it kind of assesses you and grades you and gives you a score based on what you did performance wise, and then we can target, or we can take that information and then target it on the table or on the ground.
With regards to recovery, how much is sleep?
Sleep is huge.
An issue, especially with the younger athletes that you work with.
I'm actually been watching this podcast about how sleep actually correlates with Alzheimer's actually too. So if you are lacking in sleep, it actually increases your risk of Alzheimer's disease, which is a little crazy.
Isn't it crazy how not we, but a lot of people celebrate. Well, I sleep 4 hours. I work till 2.
I think that range
6.
of 6 to 8 is I think pretty good.
Yeah, so you usually want to get 6 to 8 hours of sleep. As a child, you do want to get more sleep. Children require more sleep than adults.
Right.
And as you age too, you just require less sleep. That's why you hear a 70-year-old, they're oh, I only slept for 4 hours and I feel rested. Well, they don't need as much sleep as a child. The child usually needs about 12 hours, I think it is. Again, it depends on age. I don't know exactly the age ranges, but I do know younger athletes do need more sleep for that recovery process. But sleep is huge. I mean, if you don't sleep at all. Like if you only sleep like 2 hours a night, I mean, it's going to ruin your cortisol levels. It's going to ruin your circadian rhythm. You're not going to be able to perform as well as you want to. Like it is just the base of everything. And even just kind of basing off my own experience as an athlete, when I was in high school, I was a 5-sport athlete working 2 jobs and obviously going to school, right? So I was like coming home at like 11 o'clock at night, probably waking up at 4 o'clock in the morning because I was a morning person at that time, not anymore. But waking up at 4 o'clock in the morning and just not, like I wouldn't go to bed till like 12 or 1 in the morning. So I would only get a couple hours of sleep. And I definitely felt the burnout a lot. One, because I was doing so much, but I just, definitely was fatigued and tired all the time. And the biggest thing for me was how well can I be in my athletics, not really how well can I be in school. So I was like a B+, A- student, whatever. But like I noticed, especially as I went into college isn't as easy as what high school, not that high school was easy, but it's not, you have to actually study if you're a person that doesn't just like absolutely absorb everything. So when I went to college and I was a college athlete, I thought I could run off the same exact schedule and do well in school and just do what I've been doing for years. But that absolutely was not the case. And it wasn't until I was in like 10th grade where I think my coach or someone was like, Jocelyn, like you have to make sure you're sleeping and you're eating well and everything else. And I was like, okay, I guess I'll give it a try. Like I'll make sure I'm getting sleep. So like I made sure that, I would go to bed at like 10 o'clock every night and I would wake up at like the same time every morning. And I saw a big difference, one in my performance, but also just in my grades. I was able to kind of focus more in school. I was able to kind of actually retain things a little bit more. And it really, like, if you would have told me before that like I had to do that to get better grades and to be able to retain things more and perform better, I definitely wouldn't have believed it because I didn't believe it for so long. But then I experienced that. And now if I don't get my 8 hours of sleep at night, my brain doesn't work. I'm crabby. I'm moody. I just want to sleep all day. So yeah, sleep is huge. Sleep is so important.
One of my players, this is back during COVID. Obviously we get shut down and she is probably a freshman or sophomore in high school at this time. Oh, I think she was a freshman. COVID happens. Everything's shut down. We get back. Everything is back to normal or starting to get back to normal. And she's about 3 or 4 inches taller and way more muscle. And I guess her doctor told her, well, we only grow when we sleep. So when you're talking about the youth player or how young kids need to sleep more, that's why.
So it looks like Messi didn't sleep, right?
Yeah, maybe that's why I'm only 5'1".
HGH.
I didn't sleep enough.
Yeah. Oh man. What sports did you play?
So I kind of did a lot. So I started as a dancer growing up, and then I was a gymnast. I did play soccer for a little while.
Okay.
I also ran track. I did competitive cheerleading, and I want to do wrestling and all that other stuff, but my mom was like, no, you can't wrestle as a woman. I was like, Mom, yes I can. But I was also doing 500 other things, so she's like, you can't do everything. And I'm like, why not? So yeah, I did a broad range of different things, but my favorite sport was definitely gymnastics.
Yeah.
That was a great sport to be a part of.
Yeah. So. And that's probably where you're focused on mobility.
Absolutely. I think that's where it all kind of started is, especially when you look at the different sports that I've done, especially track versus gymnastics. I think a lot of my skills that I learned in gymnastics actually translated over to me actually being decent at track, because I had great mobility and great strength in my hips and, doing hurdles. I was actually always against these really tall girls. Again, I'm not even 5'1". I'm almost 5'1". So I was always against these really tall girls, but I was able to keep up with them because I had great mobility and great movement in my hips, and I didn't have to I could just fly over things, or I was a jumper, and I was always again against these really, really tall girls, and I think it was just my gymnastics background that helped me with that. But then you would look at some of my friends who were on the track team with me who didn't have great mobility in their hips, didn't really have that kind of training behind them, and they were great athletes, but they definitely weren't able to produce as much power or be able to move as well, just because they didn't have the mobility in their hips. They didn't have the mobility just throughout their body, or even the awareness throughout their body, I guess you could say too. But I think also with track, we would start up with a small dynamic workout or a warm up to get started, but we wouldn't really do much of a cool down to kind of like stretch and everything. So like track, like we weren't really focusing on mobility. It was more obviously the cardiovascular endurance training. But I think if we would have focused a little bit more on like mobility and the recovery aspect, I think that would have helped everybody on the team a whole lot more.
I mean, just think of it as like if you're past the 90 minutes, 95th minute or whatever, or even overtime, your muscles are fatigued. What are you relying on? Stability, mobility, to to get you past that next hurdle. Yeah. So that's kind of like what helped me during my career in soccer is every single time that it was a lot of times probably in my senior year of college was just overtime. Yeah. So that's kind of where I kind of succeeded was the mobility and flexibility part and stability part.
I had a mentor years and years ago. Basically, he said that the cool down is more important than the warm up. Mm-hmm. And most injuries happen because of yesterday's cool down. Mm-hmm. Any truth to that? Any thoughts on that? You're so right, though, because we focused 10 to 15 minutes on warm up. We trained. See ya. Have a good day.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
And then there's no cool down and every.
I think a big part of the cool down is also getting the nervous system to kind of cool down, because especially as an athlete, you're constantly using that sympathetic nervous system where you're just like, go, like how much power can I use? How much, energy can I use? That we don't ever teach our bodies to calm down and go into that parasympathetic state, where that parasympathetic state is your rest and digest. So like, if you're an athlete that's constantly going, and you don't teach your body to kind of calm down, even if you're not focusing on the mobility, even if we're just like after practice or after any sport, we're just laying down and we're just doing like breathing exercises and teaching that body to come back down, how do you translate that into like, day-to-day things, like where you're going, like you can't like shut off your body, and that becomes a problem if we can't turn off our sympathetic state. That becomes a problem that turns into other things that can become a problem like in like the future. And I do feel like a lot of athletes, they're in that sympathetic state and they just don't know how to kind of come off of that state. And that state is important. You need to make sure you get in that parasympathetic state, but also that sympathetic
state. If we can't get that lactic acid out, it's just going to store in your muscles, and then you're going to be sore. Then you're going to lack range of motion. Then you're going to have that same soreness and your same lack of motion, lack of mobility in your joints for the next practice. And then you're just going to, possibly get injured.
Do you guys educate your athletes about, or any of your clients about their diet and the inflammation?
That's a whole different ball game. Yeah.
Derik and I always say, and I think every trainer, should kind of say this too. There's a lot of trainers out there that they are like, okay, do XYZ with your diet. Like, eat this, don't eat this, whatever. And I think everybody needs to see a dietitian, someone who is completely specialized in what they do. They're going to have a good baseline knowledge of things, and we can give recommendations. But I always tell people, if you are looking for something that is truly customized to your body, what you are doing athletic-wise, or whatever you're training for, that you should really see someone who's really specialized in that. Because trainers and even people with our backgrounds where we have degrees that are in the health and wellness realm, we don't have as much education as a registered dietitian or somebody who really...
It's like a brain surgeon and like an orthopedic doctor. They do bones, they do brains.
Yeah. So definitely, we have like a baseline. We share anything that we do know, but I always tell people, you should see somebody for XYZ. In like the exercise programming that we are eventually going to be bringing, I do have like a packet that we started developing that has like basic things like what's a protein, what's a carb, why do we need fats, like as an athlete, like how much protein should we be taking just on average, like even if you're not an athlete, like how much protein should we be taking, why is this important? So I give people the education behind that, and I also like provide meals in there that are like nutrient dense, because we don't want to just be eating all protein or all carbs or all fats, right? We want to have a good balance. So we give information that like basic information, but even in the packet, I'm like, if you want specialized things, like, you know, how much should I be specifically taking, you should definitely go to like a dietitian or a nutritionist who is specialized in that
Because
stuff.
everyone's different. So
Everybody is different.
say I have this going on, or someone is diabetic, or someone has dairy intolerance, or anything, you know. So
Yeah,
that's
any type of like
gluten free.
condition.
Yeah.
Yeah. One size doesn't fit all. Like, I've definitely worked with trainers in the past where I've done a program where they're like, okay, we'll give you like your meal plan. And it's one meal plan that's supposed to fit the 50 people that are part of it. And those 50 bodies are completely different. And you can't tell me that this meal plan that you probably used on your own, like on yourself, is going to work for these 50 different people, you know? And again, you have a difference between men and you have a difference between women. So if you're working with a woman athlete, that's completely different than a male athlete. And those bodies need something completely different than, you know.
You brought up
A
gluten.
basis.
You brought up gluten free. Half of my family, both of my sisters and two of my nephews, they each have a son. They're celiacs.
Yeah.
So they can't eat.
Yeah.
They can't eat gluten at all. And one of my nephews is going to play at Eastern Michigan, play football at Eastern Michigan, and so he has to be able to put on a lot of pounds without eating.
Yeah.
You know,
crap.
wheat. Yeah, basically, yeah. So, yeah. Where'd you guys go to school?
So I went to a school in Ohio for my undergrad. So I stayed 5 years, got four undergrad degrees at Muskingum University.
Okay.
And then I went to Gannon University for grad school. And then that's where I met Joss. And then...
Are you going to tell them your majors?
So I am PE, Health Ed, Health Administration, Health and Fitness, minor in business. And then I have my master's in athletic training.
All right.
So
awesome.
So all like pre-physical therapy realm of things. Didn't really want to go the physical therapy realm or like OT realm. I kind of just wanted to work with the athletes, and that's where I found my niche in athletic training.
Yeah.
So, but yeah. So.
I went to Gannon University. I got my bachelor's in sport and exercise science.
Yeah.
The goal was to become a physical therapist, but the student loans are absolutely insane, and the pay in New York State isn't that great. So I kind of took a step back. I actually was enrolled in nursing school, but then I was like, no, I don't want to be a nurse. I want to work in physical
Smart
therapy.
decision.
Yeah, so I want to work in physical therapy, so rehabbing people naturally. So I decided to go back to school for physical therapy assistant. So now I'm a licensed physical therapist assistant as well. So those are my 2 degrees.
Rehabbing people naturally.
Yes.
I mean, yeah, absolutely.
Yes.
I mean, that's a whole.
And that
other
that opens up a
thing.
whole different thing of medications and all this other stuff.
Exactly.
That like, hey, this medication does this, but you have to take this medication because this medication will make hair grow on your feet, and this medication will help the hair on the feet, and then this medication.
Yeah.
It's
how about-
a trickling effect.
What's
crazy.
that? What's that quote? An ounce of prevention is worth a pound of cure.
Yeah,
or whatever.
yeah.
It's like, why don't we teach people how to live healthier?
Yeah.
And be mobile and.
So that is kind of what we're seeing it stretched out, is that, all these doctors, and not saying that you don't need to be, have surgery or whatever.
Of course.
But it's like, oh, hey, you have OA, we're going to cut you in 5 months, Here, we're going to have surgery because you need a total shoulder or your total knee. What we're kind of finding is it's all tendons and muscles that are attaching that joint, and it's pulling onto the joint, degrading the cartilage. So what we need to do is stretch, strengthen, and provide a little bit of mobility into the joint to help that kind of create space, is what we're,
Are you familiar with Bobby Stroup at all?
I've heard of the name.
He is, so I was born in Kansas City.
Oh, no.
You better be a Bills fan.
No, I'm not. I was born in Kansas City, so I've been a Chiefs fan all my life, obviously.
Oh, man.
So,
oh, wait, there's a sign right behind
Exactly.
you. I didn't even notice. Oh,
Sorry.
man.
So-
we might have to leave now. I'm just kidding. I'm kidding.
he's Mahomes' trainer, and he is all about the mobility and the science about how we move. And you always see his athletes just in crazy positions, getting their body used to being in crazy. And that's why Mahomes is kind of
sporadic,
crazy flexible and stuff. But so Bobby Stroop, he's had his own fitness gym or whatever in Texas, and he has something like 18 professional athletes that he's worked with since middle school.
Oh wow.
And it's like, okay, so he's doing something right.
Exactly. He's providing the foundation for what really needs to be.
Yeah.
And that's what we're trying to do, is provide a foundation so that we can work on, what needs to be worked on.
Okay, let's talk about rehab, or how many athletes have you worked with that have come off ACL injuries or surgeries?
ACL or shoulder.
So I've more seen that when I was working in the physical therapy clinic.
Okay.
Like working with athletes like post that, or they just had the surgery done and they're working towards improving. We don't really see, because again, we're not treating anybody at Stretched Out Buffalo, so we don't see anybody.
We're providing that flexibility and mobility issues that we're really not seeing the major issues. I've not seen or heard of anyone that has had a major issue like ACL, PCL, MCL, meniscus, whatever, after they've seen us.
Yeah.
I've never seen a major issue like that.
Yeah, and if somebody's coming into Stretched Out Buffalo with like a past injury, it's usually at least like 5 years healed.
Yeah, it's healed.
So, or they just don't have an ACL and they're just living without their ACL, which is possible.
Well, yeah.
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 You just have a little bit more joint laxity in there, but you just have to build the muscles around the knee for the ACL, and you're fine. You don't have to live with an ACL.
Yeah, we have not seen a single major injury, knock on wood. So, yeah.
Yeah. So our warm-up, I've been doing this warm-up for 15 years now. I don't do a dynamic warm-up, but what I do is we juggle a tennis ball, a mini ball, and a full-size soccer ball. And what I find is that through those movements, we do about 3 minutes per ball, 3.5 minutes per ball. And what I find is that when they are doing those movements over and over and over at the beginning of training, they're ready to go and do the demands of what the game is going to.
So that is a dynamic warm-up, but just sport-specific.
Right.
Sport-specific dynamic warm-up.
Right.
Yeah, because you're still increasing like your blood flow and everything else, like when you're doing those things. I mean, like when you do like a warm-up for even just going to the gym, I mean, you can get on the treadmill for 10 minutes and walk and you're still getting blood flow. I mean, there's things that are a little bit better than others. So doing like a warm-up that is working on like a little bit of flexibility, a little bit of activation and stabilization, and working a little bit of like plyometrics is obviously better than getting on a treadmill for 10 minutes and warming up. So, I mean, you can warm up however is going to work best for, the athlete.
Right.
But there's just some things that might either work better for one athlete versus another, or just things that might work out better as a team as a whole. Just as long as you're doing something to get that heart rate up a little bit and get blood flow moving to like the muscles, I mean, that's the most important thing.
I've never looked at it like a dynamic warm-up.
Yeah.
It is a dynamic warm-up. Absolutely. And okay.
But what I like to do is like, so for soccer players, we do a lot of lunging. So we, let's do some like lunges like pre-workout lunges, pre-training lunges.
Yeah.
Let's do some like high knees. Let's do some butt kicks. Let's do some lateral movements side to side.
Right.
Because we're always doing that on the soccer field. Let's do some back tracks, So
one thing that is super important no matter what sport you're doing, especially sport, not just going to the gym, is you want to get some sort of plyometric in your warm-up. So making sure that you're doing some sort of like bouncing. I don't want to say like bouncing, but some sort of like jumping and like you could do like those lateral hops.
And not ballistic stuff. Not ballistic stuff. Just
trying to do like that plyometric, more like jumping, more like kind of like. I don't really know how to. I guess the best way to describe it is like bouncing,
right.
Just because that's going to help get the joints and the tendons the most warmed up before you're getting into like full activity.
Like bound leaps, like the bound leaps.
Yeah, like stuff like that.
Or like a 2, and then you stand and you go, diagonally.
Yeah, that stuff is really important because that will just help prevent injury from happening, on like the field, whether it's a game or whether it's practice.
Because. How many movements in sports are not natural? Like our shoulder was not meant to do this.
Well, a bicycle
we were not
kick.
meant to kick
a bicycle
ball.
kick.
Yeah.
Exactly.
I mean, there's so many things, and our bodies were not designed to do that.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So
They're designed to do that, but not to that extent. So like you
Right.
like throwing a ball like a pitcher or something. You can do that, but when you overdo that, then issues can happen in the shoulder. And there's a couple softball players or baseball players that we've worked with where they're having that issue, like they're having issues with their shoulder because they're just constantly doing that motion. So that's where again the mobility work is important, but also the strengthening work and some of the band work that you were talking about.
Yep.
Bands are really important for working some of those intrinsic muscles, especially like in like the shoulder.
Are you guys seeing injuries more in athletes that are specialized, really like one sport athletes, or
I think there is a study out there that says obviously multi-sport athlete is a well-rounded athlete.
Yeah.
Yeah, because you're getting all those different directional patterns. You're not just in one
And
pattern all the
surfaces,
time.
surfaces, court versus.
Yeah.
That's-
Yeah. Turf. Yeah.
Yeah, the more directional
Nah.
patterns that you can get in your movement, even if you're just playing soccer, and I mean, you think about it, soccer playing is a lot of like sagittal plane movements. So you're constantly in this movement. You are doing obviously some side to side stuff, but your main thing is running forward, right? So like it's important to make sure you're training in all aspects, all different planes, because our body needs to be able to manipulate itself in different planes.
Yeah.
But if you can train an athlete in all sorts of different planes, their body's going to be able to adapt to things a whole lot better than just going in one direction. Another example is like runners. Runners are great at going forward because they're always doing that, but they are horrible at doing like lateral lunges and side movements at all because they never train in that way. So sometimes if you have somebody who is running and they come in and you just start doing more lateral work with them and more like some rotational stuff, you can see a huge difference in their pain levels and what they're feeling just because they're getting out of that constant just forward movement there. So, and that's the same thing for any athlete really.
Do you guys do personal training, or is it mostly groups?
So eventually we want to do that. So as we grow, that's what we want to do is provide a one-stop shop for literally everything. So we want to do like sports performance within it.
Yeah.
And have it where it's kind of like, I'm going to put this in quotations, an academy where like you come and it's a one-stop shop. You get the personal training, you get the recovery work, you get the this, that, and the other under one roof.
Mm-hmm.
So that's the goal. But no, currently we do. I think we see like maybe a few people for strengthening work.
Okay.
Yeah, like the main thing that we do is the hands-on work. But if an athlete comes in and they're like, what are some things that I can do to help improve whatever, like we'll show some exercises to do.
Mm-hmm.
It's just not like one-on-one personal training, but that definitely is a goal to have the exercise programming.
So for us though, for me, I always recommend isometric exercises. So we do exercises for strengthening purposes. So they have so we do a lot of P&F stuff, a lot of isometric stuff. So, but eventually, like I said, we're going to get into the sports performance realm of things.
Yeah.
So it's just within time.
Yeah. So how are you getting most of your clients right now? Is it word of mouth?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Word of
Yeah.
mouth and me
Huge.
reaching out, or Josh reaching out, me reaching out.
Yeah, I mean that's
Collab,
how,
yeah,
that's
exactly.
how you're here right now.
Exactly.
Yeah. I mean that's how I grow is word of mouth and just people knowing
that you
who
exist.
You guys are right.
Yeah.
Do you guys have any digital products or do anything online yet?
No, I want to though. That is something that and having Derik come on full time with us now is great because we're going to have a little bit more time to actually figure out how to continue to grow and how, kind of what avenue we want to go down.
Right.
Because the first 2 years of business, it was just like, okay, how do I get started? How do I run a business? What is this? Because there's no handbook on
Yep.
starting a business, right? So the first 2 years we're just figuring it out and we're like, is it even worth it? Are we doing it? Are we imposters? I don't know. So this year is the first year where we actually have a good baseline of everything. We have kind of where we want to go. And now that he has joined full time, now we can really kind of figure out exactly different avenues we want to go. And the online platform is definitely one that I am definitely interested in doing. I was going to do it at the beginning of this year. I actually reached out to a couple different companies to see quotes and everything. But again, just didn't have the time to put in for that. But that's something that we're definitely... I'm going to do. I'm just going to say it. I'm going to do by the end of this year.
That nutrition guide that you were talking about earlier, do you provide that for free to your athletes?
The nutrition guide. So that's a guide that I haven't 100% finished because I'm a perfectionist on everything. So I need to finish it. But the plan is like once we start doing more exercise programming to have that for people who like whoever comes and does like.
And we do have 2 nutritionists that are like really close friends of ours. So
so we'll refer them out too if like
out.
people do have.
Because I'm thinking like that sounds like something you could sell for $4.99 and just put it on your website, because so many of these trainers are making a lot of money doing online stuff and digital courses and ebooks and stuff like that, and it's just it's almost like just side money or whatever. So last year I did a business mentorship where it's called Two Brain. Have you guys been familiar? It's kind of like Gym Launch. Have you heard of Gym Launch?
Yep.
It's kind of like Gym Launch. So I did that. Obviously, they're for fitness gyms and CrossFit gyms and stuff like that. But I was like, you know what? I can learn from this just about how to run the business and whatnot. That really helped me realize, well, actually how to become a businessman, because I've been doing this for 10 years and I'm still like, trying. The best thing about entrepreneurship is you just get to test and be like, let's see if this works. It didn't work, so let's move on and change it up and tweak it and stuff and add things. And that's what I'm doing. Well, that's what I'm doing with this podcast. Is I've been here 10 years. I just turned 40, and I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna finally do it, because a couple years ago I really got into content creation, and it was really just me in front of a camera complaining about soccer. Or a complaint, or just telling the stories that I heard throughout the week from my players, because sometimes it's a therapy session. And I would just get in front of a camera and talk, and that kind of developed my brand. Well, I got sick of just yelling at a camera by myself, so I was like, okay, I'm just going to have people in. And then this is like my favorite thing to do now, because
podcasts are so much fun.
And so I had a sports psychologist in, and I just uploaded on Monday, and her phone has been like, I guess, blowing up.
Oh, that's great.
So,
super cool.
So from like our athletes, because you know, and so hopefully same thing coming with you guys. So you said that you guys do a couple collabs already.
So we have about 8 collabs right now, and then 2, and one being possibly soccer coming on.
Sweet.
And another one, possibly female football.
Love it. Like flag?
So,
or is it tackle? That's awesome.
So, I mean, with me being an athletic trainer, it definitely opens up a lot of doors for us, but also they see that we do this at Stretch at Buffalo.
Yeah.
So it's like icing on the on the cake.
Yeah.
So, but we have football, we have basketball, rugby, and now possibly soccer and football, or female football.
How's your clientele base? Is it mostly Kenmore and Tonawanda and that area, or is it kind of all over spread out?
Definitely more Northtowners.
Yeah.
But we have a couple of Southtowners. We have people who come from like Elma Orchard Park, and we're very thankful for that. I'm always like,
Wilson.
wow, thank you. Yeah, thank you so much for driving so far to come out to see us. But you know, people are really appreciative of what we do, and they say that it's worth it to come, you know, from such a far distance to come see us, which makes us feel good. Obviously, it makes us feel like, you know, we know what we're talking about, which we do. But a lot of people that come in are Northtowners. We actually get a decent amount from like Sanborn, Lewiston area.
Okay,
that's a pretty big. I don't know why, but we have a lot of people that come from there.
Right.
But yeah, I mean, definitely local to Kenmore. A lot of people walk in Kenmore, which is amazing. So right where we are on Delaware, there's so many people walking their dog.
That's perfect.
Yeah, and they're always like looking in and peeking through the window and like, hello.
Foot traffic is so big.
Yeah, absolutely. We actually recently moved into the space that we're in right now a year ago from March. And we were on Delaware in like towards the city of Tonawanda, just 7 minutes up the road. And just by moving 7 minutes down the road and being in the village of Kenmore where there's so many people walking, we have grown so much.
Probably threefold.
Yeah, because like, you know, we're on Delaware, which is a busy road. It's one of the busiest in Buffalo. But like, location is definitely everything. If you are not in a good location, like the building that we were in, it was okay, but it was like a little bit far back and you couldn't really see it that well. Whereas this location, we're in a plaza that's already established, but also like the sign, like there's a red light right there. So then like when people stop, they're like looking in and they're looking at the signs and everything else.
So now we're getting walk-ins and stuff like that.
Yeah,
That's
so
awesome.
location is definitely huge, and we saw that impact when we moved just 7 minutes down the road. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
Because when you drive by here, it's a different type of clientele like walking because it's all just like parents and kids and stuff.
Yeah.
But they don't know what this is. This building was actually built in 1975, and they had to do a lot of work to get it up to code and whatnot. How big is your space?
About 20...
like 2,300 square feet, 24. So, I mean...
Are you outgrowing it?
We will be, for
Yes.
sure, soon.
Especially with what we want to do in the future,
Right.
we're gonna need a bigger space.
The
Way
issue
bigger space.
is we love being in Kenmore, but Kenmore doesn't have a lot of opportunity for big buildings because everything's one already bought, and then two, like there's not really like big like warehouses or anything like seen on Delaware, obviously.
Right.
So
Or these warehouses they're like $3 million, $4 million.
And there goes and there goes your foot traffic.
Yeah.
Are you looking to buy and not lease
eventually?
Yeah.
Eventually.
I mean,
Yeah, because we lease right now, which is fine.
So
I mean,
do
it's
I.
something to start with, but I would love to own our own building eventually.
Yeah.
But, I mean, if we don't, that's fine too, but obviously more equity in if you own something.
are you guys training in the morning and in the afternoon?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it depends on the day.
I mean, even in the weekends. So Saturday, Sunday, that's when we do our recovery work because everyone plays on Saturday.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So some of the college guys or college people that are college teams that we collaborate with, they play either on like Wednesday or Saturday.
Yep.
So we see them on Sunday. Mm-hmm. So.
Yeah, there's one team. I don't know if we're really supposed to tell, because there's some stuff you can't really tell,
Of
like what
course.
teams you're working with, depending on where, what schools it is. So there is a team that we've been working with more recently that has been doing very well in basketball, and they're on their way to possibly going to the championship. Hopefully they win their game tonight, but then they'll be going to the championship. But yeah, so it really depends on the athlete's schedule too. So like with their team,
Yeah.
if
Maybe
they
you're at
win, then
noon
we're
or
there the
something.
next day.
Yeah.
If they lose, then we're not there, but they're not losing. So.
Yeah. That's awesome. That's
Yeah.
exciting.
So I mean, that's one of the downfalls of also working with sports teams. Is like you're kind of like on call like the next day.
Which is good, which is fine.
Yeah, no, and that's totally fine. But like some people like wouldn't be able to accommodate that. Like you have to, if you're gonna work with sports and you're gonna work with athletes, you really need to make sure that like you can clear your schedule or manipulate your schedule in some way, or like you have time to accommodate to them, because obviously athletics is so crazy sometimes. So
Wow. What's your social media presence? Do you guys do a lot?
More Joss than
he doesn't like to be on social media, and I try so
I mean, I
hard
don't
because
mind. It just I'm not like what
people from
course.
Churchill Buffalo love when he makes an appearance. I did this like 12-day of stretchmas for Christmas or whatever as like a countdown, and he made it in like one video, and everybody was like, "Oh my god, that was so funny! Derek was in the video," and I was like, "Derek, you have to come on social media more because like people love to see you."
Yeah.
And also like.
It's like a sweet, It's like, hey, sweets are bad for you, but then I'm gonna give you a little sweet.
So yeah, we're very present on Instagram and Facebook. Both, we have about the same amount of followers on both, but it's definitely a different not clientele, but like a different following.
Yeah.
Instagram is a little bit younger. Facebook's a little bit more older.
Yep.
But we post like the same exact things on both pages.
Yep. So do I.
Yeah.
So we do a lot of events. So coming up here soon, in May, we're gonna do one of our honey hole events. I call it a honey hole event. Is that it sells out really quick. We do like a multi-station rotation event.
Okay.
And you get a little taste of literally all of our services that we offer at our business. So you 15, and by an hour and 15 minutes, you're gonna feel absolutely phenomenal. So you get a full body kind of recovery.
I love
and
that.
you get you get the cold plunge, you get the sauna, you get the possibility of cupping and
Or hot
you
hot
guys-
stones. And
You
Yeah,
guys
so
do
we-
cupping, huh?
yeah, and I'm certifying Gavilon, which is scraping. So, but the thing is,
The more you do it,
everyone thinks or like that does it. They go like intramuscular, like super deep.
Yeah.
There's absolutely no reason why you need to go super deep.
Thank you.
Yeah, there's no reason.
Actually, fun fact: Derik has a published study in the International Journal
There
of
you
Exercise
go.
Science. So
Yeah,
Yeah.
with the tools. So
see, so you can write. So I'm telling you,
he's a huge study guy. He wants to do studies.
I do like studies. I like the results. I do like numbers. So
wow.
because then it just justifies the reason.
How many saunas do you have, or do you have a multiple person sauna, or is it
So-
just a one person?
It's technically a 2-person, but
yeah.
usually just one person goes in there. We just
Yeah.
got a 2-person, so there's a little bit more room. We only have just like one little recovery room right now. It just has one cold plunge, one sauna. You know, the goal is to eventually have maybe multiple, but we don't really need much right now. I'll tell you, the cold plunge has been really hard to get people to go in the winter. It was definitely more popular in the summer, but I'm sure as the weather kind of warms up here, people will be in the cold
But,
plunge
I mean,
again. But the sauna has been hot. This literally has been hot.
and it's the science behind it. The science behind
Absolutely.
it is
Yeah.
absolutely phenomenal.
Yeah, especially in
And
recovery.
the thing is, everyone thinks, oh, it's freezing, like negative something.
It's not. It's like
59 to 50 degrees.
yeah,
Is your optimum temperature that you're
of the cold plunge. Yeah,
and 11 minutes a week.
11 minutes a week.
Yeah. So the
So
more
do
you
you
can
do? Oh, sorry.
No, I was gonna say the more you can kind of break up that 11 minutes, the better too.
Do you do hot and cold at the same time? So like,
Like the contrast.
So we do the contrast
Contrast,
bath.
thank you.
We don't have a hot tub yet. We'd love to.
Well, no, we just-
But
oh, you do
sauna.
the sauna. Yep.
Yeah. So we do the sauna, the back and forth. So
Yeah.
someone can, you and 2 or 3 of your friends can rent out the recovery room. So you have access to the foam rollers, stretch bands, normal tech compression boots, cold plunge, and the sauna for the whole hour.
What do you think of the boots?
Love them.
I like them.
Yeah.
Super good
Especially
for-
after a massage or a stretch,
Okay.
or after doing like any type of athletic performance. They're really great to get on because one, they help increase blood flow to the lower body, but they also help to kind of push things back to the heart and to the kidneys to allow like
Lymphatic
the
drainage.
crap to
Yeah.
kind of be released from your system. Just because, like, again, when we stretch, when we massage, it's definitely releasing toxins into our body. And if we can get you on those boots right after, usually after a 15-minute session, you have to go pee, like, right away. But that is literally just things being released from your body, which is great.
Yeah.
So,
Originally, well, not originally. I always wanted to do the podcast, but throughout these last 5 years in this building, I wasn't using the office as much. And I'm like, what do I want to do? And then some of our college players, like, you need a recovery room, you need a sauna, and you need a cold plunge and those boots. And I'm like, yeah, let's do it. But then I'm like, wait a minute. Only the college athletes are going to use it, and they're gone most of the year. So it's not really a return on the investment. Health-wise, it's great.
And
but
it's
will-
pretty expensive.
It
yeah,
is.
I will say people aren't coming in just for the recovery room. I
Right.
mean, people are coming in for the hands-on work and the classes and, like, the educational stuff that we
And
provide.
that's just a
That's just
icing
a
on the cake.
supplement. That's
Yeah.
just a supplement to what we do.
when you guys get walk-ins, what do they think you guys do? With the name stretched out, I feel obviously
Like group classes.
Do people think yoga or
Sometimes people
Pilates?
come in asking if it's yoga. I think on our sign outside it says assisted stretch recovery and wellness, so it's already putting
Got
out there
it.
like it says assisted
Perfect.
stretch. But people usually come in and they're like, "Oh, like what do you do here?" And like we explain to them, they're like,
Love
"Oh my
it.
gosh, I need that. Like where were you 10 years ago?"
I think everybody needs this.
Yeah, absolutely. Everybody needs
Every
it.
yes, well done.
So you don't know what the benefit of stretch is unless you get assisted stretched one time.
Yeah.
It's totally different than you stretching yourself. It's absolutely different. What Joss and I, we're sports stretch certified too, so there's another way that we can stretch you on the ground too.
more intense.
Yeah, it's a little bit more intense, but majority of what we do is on the table, and we'll put you through range of motions, and then we'll do everything for you, so we can get past that restriction, past that immobility. So it was like opens people's eyes to what, like, oh, whoa, this is stretch.
Yeah.
Like, this is way different than what I'm doing.
Right.
There's a lot of people who go and get massages every month, which massage is great in its own way. I love my monthly massages that I do, and he loves his weekly massages that he does. So we love that. But stretch targets in a different way, and we have a lot of people who come in and they try stretch for the first time, and they're like, "This is better than massage," and they become avid stretch goers, and like they still do massage, but they don't do it as often because they feel like it helps them more. And if you think about it, like, massage therapists sometimes can't get in certain areas, like when you're doing the massage. And when we're doing stretching, because we're getting that whole entire muscle, let's just say like the groin, if we're stretching like the groin, we're able to kind of like literally get from start to finish where that groin is, right? And get like that, I don't want to say like stimulation, but like kind of like that whole sensation that you feel in that muscle, where like massage, obviously you can't get too close to like the groin or any of that stuff. So people like are like, wow, it's getting in areas that massage can't get in, and we hear that all the time.
But we also do the stretch and massage combos. So we do a lot of collabs with our massage therapists, like 30-30 or an hour. Or even the chiropractor we have. We do a lot of, back and forth with them. So
yeah, because it's not just one avenue of wellness that's going to help you. You need to kind of do all kinds of different avenues of wellness. And that's one thing, like, we would never tell anybody, like, you just have to stretch and you're going to feel completely better. Like, you have to strengthen, you have to stretch, you have to get massages, you have to do this work on your own. It's not just us doing all the work for you.
Right. Yeah, you can't just do biceps, you have to do triceps as well.
Yeah, like, we can't fix you on our own. Like, you have to do the work too.
So when you say that, our massage therapist, do they come in and just rent space from you, or do you kind of contract them out?
So we do. We contract them out, and our massage therapist, and our chiropractor. Sorry.
Okay.
So so they are all their kind of independent contractors. They're on their own entity, but they're under one roof. So.
Got it.
Yeah, but if we're like collabing like with like sports teams and stuff, and like they want a massage therapist, like we just ask them like, hey, like we'll pay you XYZ, and you can come in and do massage. And if you don't want to, then we'll just ask somebody else. And sometimes like not even if the massage therapist in our studio can't do it, we have a lot of friends who are also massage therapists. So like I just reached out to my friend Carly, who's my massage therapist, and I was like, hey Carly, what are you doing this Monday? Got to work with a sports team, and do you want to make extra money? And she's like, sure, I'm in. So it's great to have like people in other areas too that we can reach out and ask. So
do you guys offer memberships? And okay, you do. Okay.
We do.
Yep. So we offer 3-month memberships, and now we're offering like a 6-month membership. The 3-month is more kind of like to like get you back on your feet kind of thing, especially for people who are just coming in. The 6-month membership is more meant for people who are like wanting it as a recovery tool, like when they're like really working out. So like we have a lot of runners who are on like a 6-month program or a 6-month membership because they just use it as a recovery tool. And we have anywhere for the 3-month, anywhere from 2, 4, or 8 a month that you can do. And like when we first have people come in, we have them do that functional assessment, so we can kind of see exactly where they're limited, and then we can give like recommendations, like whether we recommend you coming in 4 times a month, or if the more you do it, the better it's going to be for you, especially if you're someone who's really, really limited. But there are some people who come in and we're like, either just come in when you need us, because like your mobility is actually pretty good, or come in twice a month. Usually based off that functional assessment, we can kind of gear them in the right direction of where to go with that.
Do you ever get parents and kids at the same time? Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yep.
I can see that all the
my son is doing this. I need this.
Yeah.
Yeah. Exactly.
Exactly what it is.
Actually, Derik was recently seeing a soccer athlete who had a concussion, and he was coming in and working with him, and then the mom was like, ooh, I think I want to be stretched. So now I've been seeing her while he's working with
So I'm certified in concussion, so I'm able to do like preseason, postseason, or after concussion rehab for it.
I just had somebody on, and I was like, I want to get somebody in here that knows concussions.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so he can do like a pre-screen for it.
It's a whole... Oh, you got... Is that baseline testing?
Yeah.
Yep. So
Yep.
You guys got baseline?
Yep. So I do baseline.
Excellent. Man, I was just saying yesterday how I've had more athletes career end because of concussions than an ACL.
Yeah.
or anything like that. It's
So
terrible.
what I do, everyone gets like an app, and they can get all the results on the app, and they can send it to whoever they need to do, doctor, coach, athletic trainer, whatever.
Yeah.
And it kind of shows where they're at. Red means, hey, no play whatsoever. Yellow is we're winning them in.
Yeah.
And then green is full contact. So it kind of does that as well.
It's like
So,
concussion protocol.
exactly.
Wow.
So we also do the Buffalo treadmill test and the whole 9 yards there too. So it's good.
What's the Buffalo treadmill test?
So it's kind of like a return to activity kind of test.
Okay.
So-
Also to
It's
see tolerance too.
Tolerance.
Secret wobbly? Or
No
anything?
athletic intolerance. So if they can't really do that, then they can't really go back to activity.
Got it.
So-
Okay.
Yeah, there's
Yeah.
a couple other tests in there too.
Yeah.
But
When you go remote, when you go to the teams,
Mm-hmm.
what's your equipment needs normally?
Table and a kit. That's it.
Oh,
yeah,
really?
with athletic training, then you just need your
Table and
AT
kit.
Awesome.
And then for just like the stretching mobility work, like
Table.
sometimes we're bringing some foam rollers.
Yeah.
If they request like foam rollers, we have like 20 or 30 foam rollers in our facility.
Yeah.
So we'll come with that.
Stretch
or
straps.
We'll come with stretch straps so they can use them.
Yeah.
We'll come with like our massage gun. He usually brings his scraping tools. And we'll bring the tables. I usually bring a mat. We have like a little roll-up mat where I can put people on the floor, especially if I'm working with guys. Obviously, I'm a small woman, so it's easier for me to get guys on the floor and stretch them that way. So I usually use a mat. He usually uses a table.
What massage guns do you guys use and recommend?
So we have, it's called the M3 Pro. I just bought it on Amazon. It's like a knockoff of the Hypervolt. I
Okay.
bought one like 3 years ago, just for our own use,
Yeah.
and it's been really great quality. So then I
Really?
bought another one recently, just so we had another one in our space. And it works great, and it's half the price.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
the Hypervolt,
Oh,
does the same
The
thing,
Theragun.
honestly.
Yeah.
And honestly, sometimes the Theragun, now I use those in the physical therapy clinic, and sometimes those are crazy. Even the lowest setting, it's like so hard. And we're like,
hurts.
oh my god, this is so much.
Yeah.
So I think sometimes the Theragun is like a little bit too hard.
Okay.
Where the M3 Pro, you have obviously different settings, just like the Theragun, but it doesn't start as strong as the Theragun.
And the thing is, we use the massage gun with active or passive range of motion and stuff. So it's all about how you use it as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
sometimes like if people want us
Yeah.
to bring like our cups too, we'll do cupping with the athletes. Just depends.
Random question about foam rolling. Are you supposed to foam roll your back?
Yeah.
Your lower back?
Yeah.
So, well, so everybody's gonna have a different opinion on this, right? It's just like, do we foam roll the IT bands?
Yeah,
I
the
don't
IT
like
bands are a little
but,
controversial.
when it comes to low back, again, going back to what we talked about in the beginning, where you're talking about mobility and stability.
Right.
When we talk about our low back, we want our low back to be nice and stable, right? If it's not stable, it's going to cause pain, and it could cause other issues. So when it comes to foam rolling, I usually say do not foam roll the low back, because we don't really want it super mobile. You can do like a little stimulation to that area, but I honestly just, when I teach classes, I stay away from the foam rolling the low back. Now the upper back, yes, that is totally fine. I'll usually do like foam rolling to like right below, like shoulder blades right here, up into obviously right before the neck starts there. I'll go all right there, and then we'll also do some like extension based stuff, and then just a little bit of rotational stuff too. Because again, our upper back, actually I don't think I said this earlier, our upper back wants good movement, our lower back does not. So we want good mobility in this T-spine and in this thoracic spine, but we don't really want much movement in that low back.
So for low back, I'm talking like upper butt is what I'm looking.
Yeah.
So that's
Yeah,
what
so like
I'm.
upper
So
here,
that's
yeah.
why I'm doing that. Is upper butt is what I like to do, and then
glute.
upper glute.
Upper butt.
Yeah, but a lot of people don't know glute, so upper butt. And then thoracic stuff. Again, a really big controversial thing. Either yes or no is the IT band, because we want it to. It's like a stabilizer muscle. So tendon. So we kind of want to kind of keep that kind of taut
Yeah.
But there's everyone says, "Oh yeah, you can do it." No, you can't. So it's a controversial
Right.
topic.
Yeah, that's a very controversial thing. But I even worked with people at the PT clinic who were all about rolling the IT band, and I'm not about rolling the IT band because, again, it's a very thick tendon and it helps with stability at the hip and the knee.
Yeah.
And why would we want to lose that stability? And usually when people are having IT band tightness, it's usually coming from their quad being tight. So there's this muscle, it's specifically called your vastus lateralis muscle. So it's very close to your IT band. And then you have your glute muscles that both your IT band either comes off of or like the VLO, the IT band kind of like lays a little bit over, and the fascia tissue kind of connects to it.
Yeah.
So if you work on foam rolling the glute muscles and foam rolling like basically the quads or a little bit more on the outside part of like your quad, not into the IT band, that can usually help relieve some pain in the or tightness in the IT band. Because you have to, when we're doing foam rolling, we should be foam rolling the muscle belly. We're not foam rolling the tendons. That's what's going to release things.
Are most injuries caused by you're tight somewhere else, or it's tight? Because I feel like
I think it's
if
instability.
I think
Stability.
it's a mix of both.
Yeah.
For sure. I mean, that's one of the reasons why also
Or
we started-
fatigue too, as well.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I think that's also one of the reasons why we started Stretched Out Buffaloes, because movement and being able to move is the foundation of everything. And when you walk into a physical therapy clinic, half the patients that were coming in and getting injured, or like especially elder people, they're hurting or they're getting injured because they can't move well. But also you do have people who can move way too well, they have way too much flexibility, and they need the opposite. They need stability work, they need more strengthening. So there's two different realms, but the most that we see is that people are lacking that mobility. So people don't have good movement, and that's just setting you up for high risk of injury there.
So with mobility and stability, then we can work on strength, because if you can't move right, then how are you supposed to strengthen, right?
Right.
Yeah, but also, I mean, training properly is important too. I mean, when I was working at a PT clinic, there was an athlete, D1 athlete, who was running track, who went to go on a starter block and went to go take off, and his Achilles tendon just bloop. I mean, he's a highly trained athlete, and he had pretty good movement like throughout his body. But if you are not training the muscles properly, you're not working on those plyometrics, you're not like putting those tendons under stress, like that's going to cause injury to happen as well.
Achilles tendon ruptures are the number one is the number one injury for athletic coaches.
Yeah.
Sure.
Because we're on our feet all day.
Yep.
We don't work out like we used to.
And they're in a shortened state.
Yeah.
Well, and especially if like you're not working out like you used to, and then you go and you try to show something to an athlete, and you're putting those
just do
tendons,
this.
Yeah, you're putting those tendons under stress. I mean, yeah, you're asking for an Achilles rupture or whatever rupture, basically, if you're not, again, training in the right way.
Since doing this, how much has improving mobility resulted in somebody losing weight? Because they can move better, right?
They can.
So, a lot of people like to come in and start their journey, whatever their goals are, whether it's losing weight or whether it's gaining strength or whatever their goals are. They like to come in and set it as a foundation to start everything else.
Yeah.
And I think it's a great thing too, because again, you shouldn't be going to the gym and overloading your muscles when you can't move properly. Like if you're trying to do, I don't know, a squat, and you don't even have the ankle range of motion, you don't even have the full ankle range of motion to get into that squat, or you don't have the hip mobility, all you're doing is loading a joint and asking for injury at that point.
Yeah.
So like, I like when people come in and they're like, I'm doing this appointment because, or I want to work with you guys because it's going to be the foundation to the rest of like my goals. I like when they do that, because that's telling me that they're not aware, but like that's telling me that they're aware that they should be moving properly before they're going to go out and do all this like high crazy movements and high crazy loading. And also that's an opportunity for us to educate them too, and just be like, okay, like you're going to start working out, like these are some things that we need to work on, because if you go to the gym right now and you want to do a squat on the squat rack and it's like overloaded, like you're gonna injure your back, you're gonna injure XYZ, and people are like, oh, like okay, then this makes it even more important for me to work on the mobility aspect before I get into overloading these muscles.
Yeah, so overloading other muscles. So if you can't, like you said, if you can't dorsiflex, then you're loading your anterior tib too much, or you're loading your quads too much, and that's injury can happen. So
Yeah.
Oh my God. You guys need to make videos.
Derek was saying, he's like, we should make our own like little podcast. I'm like, maybe.
Seriously, guys, I'm telling you, it's insane. I've grown. My Instagram has grown 6,000 people or 6,000 followers in 2 months.
Oh,
just
wow.
by
That's
uploading
amazing.
clips.
Yeah.
And you guys, like, are way smarter than me. Because I mean, but oh my God, there's so much.
There's so much information out there.
There is.
Yeah.
And
It's always evolving too. So
Yeah, it's always changing.
Yeah.
we're
So you
always
gotta read.
always learning.
Yeah.
We're always trying this out. I'm always looking at seeing this video. Oh, that could help this person. So I'm doing it, but I'm doing it my own way.
Right.
So
think over like knees over toes guy,
Yeah.
right? Who's all
Exactly.
over. And man.
But the thing is, they're going to PT, and nothing against PT. I love PT, but they're seeing 6 people. This person got 1 visit that were hands on.
Yeah.
But hey, now the rest of the visit, he's in the corner doing his own thing.
Yeah.
So it's just there's like a lapse, and nothing against PT because I know, but that's kind of where we found our niche, and that's where we kind of are successful and seeing all these results with a one-on-one, hands-on approach to things.
My thing with PT is if you're going once or twice a week and then you're cleared and let's say you're coming off of an ACL and you're cleared to play, but there's so much more to getting back to out
Well, it
there.
also comes with time too. So they only have 45-minute hour maybe.
Yeah. And again, attention with several other people.
Yeah, attention.
Too.
Yeah.
So.
And it's, that's a whole other topic that we could cover, but thank you guys so much. And then,
just for the soccer thing, how much better is it to have you with 30 people or you with 5 people?
right. Yeah.
It's the same concept with coaching.
Yeah. Are you going to get back into coaching?
I'd love to.
Where were you coaching before?
In Erie, Pennsylvania, actually during grad school. I was a high school coach and took the team to states for the first time in I think 30 years.
Wow.
Which was
Nice.
super cool.
Yeah.
This team that really had no business being there, and
Yeah.
got there, and
That's awesome.
a lot of different cliques on the team that kind of mixed together towards the end and made it happen.
Boys, girls?
Boys.
Boys. Awesome. Excellent.
But I've also done the whole the travel league as well. I've
Yeah.
done that back in West Virginia. I'm originally from West Virginia.
Okay.
So did all that kind of fun stuff too.
Yeah.
Miss it, but hopefully
Where in West Virginia?
Parkersburg. So Vienna.
Okay.
So on the other side of Marietta, Ohio. So about 2 hours southeast of Columbus or 3 hours south of Cleveland, straight down.
I'm trying to figure out where my mom's from in West Virginia. But, we're all from Missouri.
Yeah.
So, but thank you guys so much. We'll talk a little bit about some collab stuff after I'm done recording. But the guys, I learned so much, and I hope everybody watching this is going to. And I'm just going to stop recording right there. And hey guys, thanks for watching this episode of the I Hate Soccer podcast. If you feel stuck in your recruiting process, we created a guide that includes feedback from 15 college coaches and 10 current college soccer players. Inside this guide, you'll find out what really works in recruiting, from showcases, ID camps, highlight reels, and more. Check it out at playmakertraining.com/recruited.
In Florida.
Because we don't. They just work on that. They roll out a ball and then they just say, "Okay, play," and they expect to develop elite athletes that way. That's not how it works.
So they're definitely missing different opportunities within the facet.
So I'm thinking, and I'm going to edit this out, but so I'm thinking, okay, well, we have the mental aspect. Then we have the physical aspect, which would be you guys. We have the technical aspect. Maybe I get a tactical guru to come in, and that could,
Mm-hmm.
and then now we're developing a well-rounded, or helping develop a well-rounded
Yeah, so all
player.
these academy teams down in Florida, down south, Florida, Alabama, Texas, where Chicago, out west.
Real
they
soccer,
all
real
have
soccer
that
communities.
stuff.
Yeah,
exactly. They all have that stuff, and that's what we're lacking up here, and that's what I'm trying to develop up here. As a academy type thing where you come into under one roof, you get this, and you're a well-rounded soccer player. You're a well-rounded football player, well-rounded basketball player, whatever it may be. You're getting the strength aspect of things. You're getting the recovery aspect of things. You're getting the nutrition aspect of things. You're getting the psychological aspect of things. You're getting the knowledge that you need, not only like physical, like through your sport, but you're also getting it through, how to deal with injuries and all that fun stuff. So you're not alone in the whole aspect of things.
Years and years and years ago, we were studying Ajax in Holland, Netherlands, and what they did was one day it was all technical work. The next day they would have gymnastics class and mobility,
balance class,
and what's it called, motor skills type stuff, and they're developing well-rounded athletes.
Exactly.
And we, again, what can you do? And some of these clubs, they train an hour and 15 minutes. 3 times a week. Yeah. It's like, they scrimmage the whole time.
And no one's doing stands on a Bosu ball while tossing a ball.
Yeah.
No one's doing all that kind of fun stuff to develop their intrinsic muscles or develop their ankles and all this other fun stuff that are commonly rolled during a game and stuff like that. So.
And that multi-directional movement.
Multi-directional movement.
Yeah.
So there's a lack here, not only in Buffalo, but the northern part of the United States.
Yeah.
It's all down south and out west.
Yeah. It's weird because, look at...
Because, look what happens when 12 feet of snow comes down. No one's doing anything. Yeah. So we don't have the facilities. And if we do have the facilities, they're being used. But there's other facilities that we can use to just do basic intrinsic strengthening, proprioception, balance, mobility, flexibility stuff.
Part of the time it's like, why am I in Buffalo?
Because it's not here. None of this stuff
the
is
thing
here.
is, we have the athletes here to do things. And
you
to
have parents that want to help their kids.
Stop talking about the population.
Buffalo,
that has nothing to do with it.
Buffalo
Our hockey is just fine.
Buffalo is a huge. I'm seeing it now. It's growing. I played for the BDSL too.
Okay,
I played in there.
Yeah.
So it's growing. I think there should be an MLS team up in this area. I think it'd be great. Even Cleveland, wherever.
We're trying to get a USL, and we'll see how that goes.
Yeah.
So
I think it's good. Look at Rochester with all with them. So
yeah. I'm sick of the we're too small. No, we're not. We compete nationally in youth hockey. Yeah. Why can't we do it in soccer? Why can't we do it in basketball, baseball, everything? Mm-hmm.
Oh. So the team I work with, the 7v7, they only do national tournaments.
Really?
They only do national tournaments, and they practice one day a week, but they do their own thing on their individually.
Yeah. Do they also play like high school?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think they use it as like their off season.
It's their off season kind of.
That's what my nephew does as well. It's kind of like it's not a Elite 11, but it's a 7v7, and he's a tight end, so
So there's a couple players that play multiple different positions, offense and defense. So one could be a quarterback, and then he's a safety and on defense. So, but the thing is, they were in Michigan not too long ago. Yep. Now they're going to be in Canton for the national tournament too. So it's
awesome.
great. It's great. So it's exposure, and that's what we're lacking here too in Buffalo, is exposure to all of our athletes for different things. So that. Not saying you can be D1 or D2, D3. It doesn't really matter if you're D1, D2, D3. It's just a number, literally.
Because we have that lack of exposure, that's why a platform is so important, where it's the ECNL on the girls' side right now. And the Western New York Flash has that platform where if you play D1 college soccer and you're a female, You play a flash.
But the thing is, you can only play with 11 people on a field. So
Yeah.
if it's just one organization, how much
That's the
exposure are you
problem.
willing to do?
That's the problem. And then they're like, well, we could be a hotbed. No, you can't. You can't be a hotbed with only one club. What? Name a hotbed in the country that only has one soccer club.
Exactly.
No, you have multiple
Exactly.
options, and then it's dog eat dog,
Yeah.
and then it's iron sharpens
It's a rivalry.
iron.
Yeah.
And these kids are training and playing against each other since they were 8 years old.
Yeah.
Our players here, they dominate until about their 13. Then they're in the National League.
Yeah.
And now it's like, oh, this is the first time we've lost.
Yeah, if there was probably 3, 4, maybe 5 different hotbed teams, you could be like a Man City, Man United kind of rivalry kind of thing.
Yeah. And then the people
Chelsea.
that maybe no offense have only lived in Buffalo their entire life.
Mm-hmm.
They think, well, then that's going to deplete the talent pool. It's like, no, you're going to develop more players because
people want to come.
If there's multiple options that then they get to play against each other.
Look at
Beat those
IMG in
guys.
Florida.
Exactly.
Look at IMG in Florida. So
Yeah. Oh. There's a reason why it's called I Hate Soccer. And I've said that.
I mean, it's not just soccer either. I mean, it's
all
every sport.
It's every
I mean, you
sport.
have AAU and basketball, you have this, that, and the other in hockey, but until someone actually does something about it. But the thing is, my issue is it costs money to get a facility. So it costs money to get a facility, and you need this, and that.
It's brutal, man.
What I would love would be like a 3 field. It doesn't have to be full field, but at least 1 full field, and then 2 other smaller fields, and be able to have an academy type thing where people come in and get exposure to different things. Having college coaches come in periodically, 1 time or 4 times a year, get some exposure to all these athletes that So
Is there a business model like that anywhere that you came up with this concept, or is this
no, just me thinking it.
Love it.
Yeah.
I love it.
I don't know if anything. I mean, I'm sure maybe IMG is kind of the same thing, but
Inspire,
I
one in
have no
Cleveland,
clue.
Maybe.
But this is just me over the years of doing ODP,
Yep.
doing this, doing that, being in the college level things, and just seeing the difference of what we don't have here and what everyone else has.
I
So
think
our big
also-
eye-opening thing was when we went to Florida, and
I was
everything
just
was
gonna
just
say that.
everything was just hopping because not only the weather is a
Yeah.
big factor,
Yeah.
but they had just access to different things, pool workouts, access to weight rooms. There was a turf just a facility that had turf. They were doing like plyometric stuff. They were doing flexibility stuff, mobility stuff.
Yeah, there's like a couple different training camps down there, and it was really eye-opening. And also, like, you kind of came back and you're like, oh, Buffalo doesn't have anything like that.
Right. Also, something that so I started a homeschool program, and I mean it's small. One of my players moved from Buffalo to Florida just to get recruited, just
Sure.
to get scouted, and to play in the ECNL.
Yeah.
She commits within 2 months down there, but she talks about how many homeschool players are on her teams, and then they train almost 2-3 times a day.
Yeah.
They're doing all these different things. It's not just soccer. It's a lot of what you're talking about just being a well-rounded athlete.
Mm-hmm.
And you wonder why most of the players in the NFL are in warm weather,
And-
from warm weather
And
states.
that is the issue with MLS and EPL right now, or any Champions League.
Yeah.
MLS will never be able to compete as what EPL or Champions League is because we just don't have the.
Well,
I mean, that just opens up different kind of talking
I
point.
mean, there's a lot. Yes, but you're absolutely right.
I mean, the MLS is more or less a retirement for everyone from the
absolutely.
EPL.
So it's the best over 30 league in the world.
It's exactly what it is.
It is because I mean, just
I mean, look at Suarez. He can barely run anymore.
Yeah, I mean, Yeah, absolutely.
But
it's always been that way.
But he's crushing everyone in MLS.
Yeah,
he's still scoring.
Back in when he came here, Bastian Schweinsteiger when he came in, like everybody, Zlatan, everybody. They just come here,
smacking it.
Wait until Thomas Muller comes here because
Yeah.
he just left Bayern. Thomas Muller is going to come here. I hope Ronaldo comes here when he's like 45 and still kills everybody.
I mean, maybe. I don't know.
He has the metabolic age of like a 28-year-old.
Yeah, he's a specimen.
It's ridiculous. He's 40.
And that opens a different aspect. Who's better, Messi and Ronaldo? It's like, that's a whole...
I enjoy both of them.
Yeah.
I enjoy both of them,
They
but...
have different facets of the game, different aspects of the game. And
I always say Ronaldo. I think Messi is the greatest goal scorer.
Sure.
And I think Messi is the best player, and I think Ronaldo is the greatest goal scorer.
Sure.
Because the thing about those two is that I feel like Ronaldo scores in way more ways.
Yeah.
Whereas Messi kind of
he's more ticky-tacky and finds space.
Yeah. And just brilliant.
And that's what, that we lack here, not only in BDSL, because BDSL is just, hey, kick and run.
Oh, yeah.
But it's all ticky-tacky things. Even if you're like 2 feet away, 3 feet away, still smack because you're going to bring someone here. Yeah. And you're going to open up different aspects of the game.
Yeah.
I mean, just a foot, a yard opens up.
Yeah. Absolutely. And spatial awareness.
Oh, my God.
And, with the little ones. It's crazy.
But that comes. It comes.
So this place is 80 by 60, 80 feet by 60 feet. And it's hilarious to watch people try to play 5-a-side in here. 5v5, 4v4. And some of these kids, they can't handle 3v3 in there because it's too tight
So
a space.
the thing is, that's a great exercise for a midfielder.
Yeah.
Great exercise for a midfielder. Great exercise for a holding mid. Great exercise for a stopper or for a sweeper.
Yeah.
Just because they're always intrigued in the middle, and they always. So I think of it as midfield as a key. So everything is going through the key. So from defense to the midfield out, you rotate. You always. I love playing it inside mid because I just feel like I'm involved in the game. I can switch the point of attacks. That's the key thing, is being able to switch the point of attack.
That's the number one reason. That's the number one
Switch
role.
the point of attack, open up the field, and then just play tiki-taki ball. I love it.
Yeah, that's the number one role. It's like if it comes from this side, go to that side, and just
opens up different facets of the game.
And the concept of, okay, if you're in the center, you should be able to play every single player that is around you. And if you have that skill set.
And that's why I call it the key, because everything is coming to you and you're distributing it out.
I like it. Love it. Yeah. I'm glad I pushed record again. I mean, we actually talked about soccer, but yeah. Oh, man. What about multiple locations someday?
That would be...
that's down the line,
I mean... And the thing is, we've grown
and developing staff.
We've grown so much in the past. What would you say, Jay? In a year, we've grown so much in maybe 9 months to a year that it's a totally different business.
Are you like busting at the seams right now?
Almost.
Yeah. Basically.
Almost. We definitely don't have another room for another person.
Right.
So. But the thing is, for a business aspect, when is the time to pull the trigger to get a bigger plate? That's what I'm saying. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So that's always the issue with business owner. Being a business owner. So.
Also, when you think about hiring people, you hear of all these horror stories about hiring new employees, and no one's gonna love your business as much as you do.
Exactly.
Nobody's gonna work as hard as you do. Yeah. So. Trying to find somebody that at least
has the same morals, same ethics, same this, that, and other.
Has the same kind of goals, and wants to grow it too. I feel like that's going to be very difficult, but also like Derik and I are kind of not like picky, but we want to make sure that like it's people who align with like what we want to do too, or like they're body workers, because a lot of what's scary about stretching too is like I mean, even just being a trainer, you can be 18 years old, go get a weekend certification, start stretching people, start training people, and you don't even know half.
Exactly.
Yeah, and then injure all these people.
So a lot of people don't know about stenosis, the narrowing of the spine. So I mean, they can hurt people, you know.
Yeah, so there's like different diagnoses that you don't learn about by just getting a certification. You can get some good baseline knowledge.
Or a disc bulging, you know, about not doing a lot of flexion stuff and.
Yeah, so that's going to be definitely the scary part about hiring somebody, but definitely trying to find, someone who aligns with what we do and someone that we can trust with other people, just because, that'll be the biggest thing. I mean, you can really hurt someone with what we're doing, you know.
And then there's always the worry, and I used to be this way, and now I'm not. Well, what if they break off and start their own business?
Yeah.
I used to worry about that, but then I'm like, wait a minute. However long a coach spends working with me, they're gonna pick up some stuff that I do.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. But they're never gonna be you.
That is very true.
I mean, I've picked things off of other people that I use, but I use it in my own way.
Right, and that is very true. And then people, when you hire somebody new, they're like, "Well, I'd rather work with you. Mm-hmm. I'd rather work with you." And it's like, no, you got it. No, you're working with her today. You're working with him today, and then, but. If I mentor a coach just for a little bit, I feel like, okay, then I hopefully what they picked up from me, they're gonna teach a little kid too, because that way I could I could touch a lot more lives that way than if I just said only me, one man show, which is tough.
Yeah. So that's the thing is trying to let go of things.
That's my problem.
That's the biggest thing.
Even trying to let go of some things that I do, trying to get him to do it, I'm like, I feel like I need to be in control of some things. He's like, Jocelyn, just let me do it. I'm like, okay, all right, I'm trying. Yeah. But I think your employees are only as good as you train them too. Like if you have someone who maybe isn't the picture perfect ideal employee, but you train them to be exactly what you do or exactly how you are, they can end up being one of the best employees that you have.
Yeah.
But I do understand. I've talked with a couple other people that come into SOB and they get stretched and they're also business owners, and they're like, you want to make sure you don't hire somebody that would take your business away from you and start your own thing. But he's like, it's going to happen every once in a while. You just kind of accept it and then just figure out how you're going to move forward from there.
In my experience with it, and I always said this to myself, I said, whenever I am ready to start hiring coaches, I had to have coached them or trained them. Mm-hmm. And that's worked. Yeah. So I have one of my former players, Carissa Mocatrona, who played at UB. She's been with me for going on 5 years now. Mm-hmm. And she never wanted to start her own thing. She still works with me.
And some people don't. Some people don't want to start their own thing. They just want to be under someone, which is fine, which is great.
Yeah.
The one time that I hired somebody that I did not coach personally, they lasted like 3 months. It wasn't for them, because I have a different method than a lot of. Not everyone wants to do the juggling and stuff like that, or a coach, or a lot of people get bored doing the personal training thing, and they want to coach teams, and they want to coach tactics and all that stuff. So, yeah.
And that's why I kind of wanted the academy, is that I would love to have different teams within an organization that, they have their own personalities and this, that, and the other, and
There's a guy in Michigan who I kind of copied the business model of PlayMaker off of, and he just started doing. So it's called Next Level Training, but now there's Next Level Football, and then I'm imagining
Next Level Soccer.
It's he's soccer,
okay.
So it's gonna be Next Level Football. I'm imagining baseball,
basketball,
softball, basketball, all
wrestling,
of them. Yeah. And I've thought about something like that too. It's like there's something there, and then you become like a real academy, because Real Madrid and Barcelona, they have basketball teams too.
Oh yeah.
That's a big Spain thing, so and handball.
But then that comes with facility and then space. That's the biggest thing.
Crazy.
And I've been trying to find space, and then doing the whole business plan. I wrote an entire business plan of what I would need, this, that, and the other, and how much it would cost. And
how are the not the tenants, the people you lease from? How's that? Pretty good?
Good.
Yeah.
Pretty good, no problems?
Yeah, they're pretty good overall.
It's another horror story sometimes
Yeah,
that I
yeah.
hear from business owners, like, don't work with so-and-so.
Yeah. At our old space was kind of a little ghetto when we first started. And there was a couple floods and everything that the landlord was just kind of like fixing some lighting and everything that we
Yeah.
agreed to like before we moved in that he wasn't doing. But then he had that new space open up and like we've had like no problems. We've had one furnace problem and I had to fight with him a little bit with that to get him to pay for it and not for us to pay for the whole thing because that was his problem and it wasn't in our building. But besides that, I mean, he's great. So we've been really lucky with that. He's also like we technically have like a 5-year contract with him to be in this building. But if we were like, hey, Fedor, like, you know, we are growing, like we need to get out of here, I don't think he'd have a problem. He would be happy for us and he'd just put it, you know, the space.
Right.
Also, we've cleaned up his 2 spaces a lot because they were not that great when we walked in and they look great now.
And I think that now that you're would be going on your 3rd, you guys are more well known and you have way more clientele.
Oh, yeah.
That you guys could move out of the beaten path or out of the walking area where you guys could do a warehouse or whatever.
Yeah, and that's the thing on expenses that we need to be what we want to be, and that's that's the scary part of any kind of facility. Oh, what is too much is what is too much, you know? So like if we would do like the exercise science stuff, and we do all these like weightlifting things or like the gyms or the gym aspect of thing, like what is too much, like what would be too much money, or the facility, what would be too much money. That's the whole like business side of things that is totally different than what we're actually doing inside the business, but something definitely to keep in mind for sure. But
exercise science, I love that how you like say that, because exercise science, why do most college programs, obviously you have your coaching staff and then it's straight to conditioning, but they don't talk about like sports performance and exercise science.
I think that's an umbrella term, more or less,
Yeah.
in some aspect of things.
I just feel like I joke with little like young kids when they're like complaining about like having to run too much or something. Not without a ball, just running. It's like, oh man, I'm tired. It's like, well, you chose cross country with the soccer ball. You know what I mean? And then, but with our college athletes that I talk to all the time in here, it's like, I feel like you're just a power lifter that plays soccer, because that's all they're doing. Outside of training, all they're doing is powerlifting. And we talk about the mobility stuff. It's like, I don't know if all that stuff is going on.
Yeah. Yep.
Gosh.
There's a lot of parts to being an athlete, for sure.
Exactly.
Lots of parts. But
you're a 5-sport athlete. Did you play anything else going on?
I played basketball, swam,
I played lacrosse for a little while.
lacrosse in college, which
I just think these specialized all-year only soccer players, they're not well-rounded athletes for the most part. Some of them are.
Yeah. But the thing is, if you're majority soccer, then that's something else. But I would do racquetball, do
something,
do what's
pickleball.
that? What pickleball?
Yeah.
Do pickleball,
Yeah.
because that trains you to do all these things. Cutting and all this other fun stuff. Yeah. You don't necessarily have to go, do basketball or do football or whatever.
And not organized.
Yeah, and or do like cross country or do tennis, do anything,
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, you see football players are doing ballet.
Exactly.
They have football players doing ballet because it just creates a lot of control in the body.
I don't know why more boys don't do gymnastics.
Yeah. Because there's a stereotype against boys doing gymnastics, which there shouldn't be.
Meanwhile, one of the most common youth injuries is a broken collarbone because kids don't know how to fall.
For sure.
Yeah.
That's the number one thing you're taught in gymnastics is how to fall, so you don't hit yourself.
Isn't that tumbling?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, when you come out of like a tumbling pass, if you fall, like you're just taught to tuck and roll or go to the side or whatever, like not to put your arms out or whatever and get a foosh injury.
Yeah.
So fascia, how do you say it?
Fascia, yeah, fascia, yeah, whatever.
So that Bobby Stroop guy, there's like some kind of convention for that.
Oh wait, I think I know. Is he from like?
He's from Texas. He's
Okay.
in Kansas City right now.
Yes, I think
I'll
I do know
send
what
it
you're
to your
talking
guys' Instagram account.
Yeah.
And that Peter Attia guy too. But so the fascia is just in the foot, right?
It's
it's
the entire
everywhere.
body.
It's everywhere.
It's a masked over term, and a lot of people.
I'm just thinking of plantar fasciitis, aren't I?
So it's a connective
You are.
tissue that surrounds the entire body.
It literally wraps each individual muscle fiber in our body. It is literally around everything, and there's more research coming out saying that it's actually holding, if not more, but just as much structure as bones in the body too. So like, if you were to take out the bones of our body, we actually would still hold our structure because they're finding that the fascia actually holds structure in the body as well. So, which is super interesting.
Whoa.
Because again, they've never really done a whole lot of research into it until like 15, 20 years ago. I think they started doing more research into it. And like even when I took gross anatomy in college, like you would, open up the cadaver and you would just cut through all the fascia and we're like, oh, like what is this? And they're like, oh, it doesn't matter. It's just,
Connective tissue.
it's just a connective tissue in the body. And you're like, okay, whatever. And then, you go beyond college and you learn all these things and also more research comes out and it is like super, super important. They're tying emotion with fascia and connective tissue. So like there's actually, is it 40 times? I might be wrong on that, but it's like 40 times more pain receptors in our connective tissue versus the skin and the muscles. So when you go through like an emotional experience or maybe you're fighting with somebody or whatever, you're already having an emotional response to that and your fascia and your connective tissue actually responds to that and you actually are in more pain because you have more pain receptors in that area. Or if you have a restriction in your fascia versus a muscle or a tendon or whatever, you actually experience that pain more than you would if it was in the muscle. Because there's more receptors there.
Holy.
Yeah, it's a whole different ball game.
And think about how long people have been trying to study the human body, and we're just now realizing this.
I know, and it's like one of the most important things.
It's like
It connects
discovering the
everything
sea.
in the body.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's so many species out there that we haven't even.
It's true.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like
absolutely.
the ocean. Oh, the ocean's scary.
Yeah.
Oh my god. Wow.
I mean, look at cancer. I mean, we still haven't found a cure, so we're still trying to adapt and trying to find out. So haven't been able to do anything with really like diabetes and about curing it. So it's always something that we
Take this pill.
Yep.
The new thing is gabapentin. Doctors just want to give gabapentin to every single patient.
Is that what Ozempic is?
No. Ozempic is it was for diabetes, but now
People are it's a
people are using it as
miracle
weight.
white loss. But then
they don't know the long-term effects of that, and I'm scared to kind of see what those
terrifying.
effects are.
Yeah.
It's great you're losing weight in the beginning, but like that drug was made for people with diabetes, and if you don't have diabetes, like why are you taking something?
And I think now we're trying to get rid of all these like red dyes and all this, which is super good. So I mean, that are causing different things in like ADHD and ADD kids, and it's just I think we're kind of going the right track.
Yeah.
We'll see.
Seems like it.
Slowly but
Hopefully.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
all these things that are like outlawed in Europe and
Yeah, but we're
put
okay
it in our
here.
food. We'll eat it.
Well, that's the whole thing about my family being all celiacs is that you go down these rabbit holes of like, wait a minute, like what are they spraying on our food? What are they spraying? It's like all these pesticides and herbicides and whatever, all the sides.
I think the one good thing that came out of COVID was more eye-opening or awakening of people realizing that things are just not good in our system.
And,
people are just pushing medications and other things into other people that really you don't need. There's other options first. Or like our nutrition, like the way that things are manufactured, the processing that happens in the US versus other countries is so much different. And I mean, they say like pasta, you eat pasta here, and if you ate pasta every day, you gain so much weight and have all these side effects, right? But if you go to Italy Europe and
they're fine.
Yeah, and they can eat pasta every day and not gain a pound because there's not as much crap in
fillers.
pasta. Yeah, fillers or whatever it is.
And that's another thing for supplements. Everything is like fillers this, fillers, broken up seashells and supplements.
They can literally put cow manure in a supplement and not tell you.
It's
That's
crazy.
Kind of scary.
Yeah, and I mean, going back to COVID is like we learn about the
comorbidity.
Thank you.
Yeah, I can never say word either.
Yeah, and that was the death toll. That's why we had so many more deaths, is because we have so many more people with comorbidity.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can't say that. Yeah.
Yeah, and I think that was also probably awakening for people too. They're like, oh my gosh, like, well, if I'm not taking care of myself and, you know, a slight little virus comes around or a sickness comes around, my body's not going to be able to fight that off. So, like, what can I do to help my body to be able to fight off these sicknesses and these illnesses?
Eat more food off the ground.
Yeah, that's your secret, but...
That's what I'm saying. Eat some more dirt.
Yeah. Jeez. But, guys, thank you so much.
Of course, thank you for having us.
Yeah, and like I said, it was just a conversation.
Yeah.
Love it.
You know,
it's great.
You guys should start your own podcast. I'm serious. Do you guys have office space?
So we were
we do have office space.
We could like make our basement like an office, because it is nice and finished down there. But like in our space, we have like a really scary basement. But if we like put some stuff and made it look good as the background, then it would be fine.
Right?
But like if we would bring any special guests in, we'd be like, all right, we're going to the dungeon now.
Is it exposed brick or anything? That'd be sweet.
It is.
Might be.
It is exposed brick.
But it's
What I wanted to do was
It's
we do a little
scary.
podcast, and at the end, have you ever seen the what's that podcast? Hot Ones,
Yes.
where they do
The
spicy
wings.
questions for hot.
Yeah.
So what I want to do is towards the end is tough questions in the cold plunge.
Go in the cold plunge and ask the questions.
That's a good idea,
And they have to last
man.
at least 3 minutes.
Yeah.
Because you want 3 minutes to get back.
Yeah, 3 minutes of hot questions in a cold plunge. Cold plunge. I don't know what you would name it, but
That's a
play with
brilliant
that.
idea. Providence women's soccer program. They started doing this. It's called the 18 to 18 podcast, and all it is one of the coaches walks with one of the players, and they're videoing and they're just interviewing, and it's just 18 to 18, and however long it takes them to walk 18 to 8, the 18-yard box to the 18-yard box. That's the podcast. Like, that's a brilliant idea. Why doesn't my argument is, why doesn't every soccer club have a podcast? Because think about how it could be coach to coach. It could be
athletic trainer to coach.
Absolutely. College coaches come in, former players that are now in college to tell, and that's exactly what I'm doing. But then I'm finding out all the entrepreneurial stuff that I follow. Like every business should have a podcast, because you can make so much content to get your business known and whatnot. So
For sure.
I mean, and you guys just have so much knowledge, and then you have all the people that you contract or collab with, and what are you guys, like 1099 them or rent out to or whatever? Yeah. Man, awesome. So I'd like to have you guys again, but so this will come out in like 2 weeks, not this Monday, but the following Monday, and then I'll be like, okay, work with Stretched Out, have all of your info linked, and just make sure, and it will be underneath the show notes and everything, just to make sure that people know how to contact you and whatnot. Perfect. And then once I get this collab thing going, I wanna try to.
Now, do you do like summer camps and stuff like that too?
Yes, we do. Oh, okay. Yeah, we do summer camps. Would you guys ever be willing to come out like one of the days for like an hour? And we have one in Williamsville. The Williamsville one would probably be better for you, because do you guys live in Kenmore?
No, we live in Tonawanda.
But we travel. We don't
we have one in Williamsville, and then we have one in Akron.
Right? Is that the Amherst one?
Nope. This is our
right on Main Street.
No, we do one at CCA. Christian Central.
I've never.
Yeah, Christian Central, CCS.
I've heard of it. I just don't know
Oh,
where
it's
it is.
Central Christian Central Academy or Central Christian. Okay.
You're almost there.
Yeah, somewhere. It's in Williamsville, downtown. It's like in downtown Williamsville, and then I do one in Akron. We did one in Clarence the last 2 years. We're ending that one, and we're thinking about doing a mini camp in Southtown.
What I'd love to do is try to have like a national soccer, like a couple, like a U14, U15, U18 national soccer thing where they would do stuff with their own thing or own organizations, but then come in like an ODP kind of thing and only do national tournaments.
Yeah,
which would be super cool.
Yeah.
So I have connections in
Like
West Virginia and all that good fun stuff. So
like a tournament,
Ohio,
well, a tournament team.
Just a tournament team.
Yeah,
they just come for tournaments.
Yeah, there's one,
practice 1 day a week.
There's 1 or 2 guys that have done that around here, but yeah, I mean the soccer.
It's growing, and that's what I'm. Just there's a lack.
We just need more quality. We need more quality. We need more opportunities. We can't have a monopoly. You know, we cannot have a monopoly.
Yeah.
And we live we're in a town right now, unfortunately, that has a youth soccer monopoly. Right
now. There is, and I've tried to reach out to a couple of them, and
they're not.
No response really.
Yeah, and that's one of the things why I'm trying
to.
Hey,
this is what I do. This is what I can provide, and really nothing.
I've gotten so many people reaching out just about the podcast, about coming on to the podcast. And like, hey, we want to be represented. Can we come on? And I'm like, yes, absolutely, because I already knew the people, and I was like, yeah, I want you on because I was eventually going to get to you. It's just I have so many people coming in, but that one organization, they're like, yeah, we'll do it in the summer. Yeah, we'll be there. And I'm like, all right, man, because when one club has every single person willing to do it, and that club also starts their own podcast and is more transparent to all of their families, people are going to gravitate towards the transparency versus, the Death Star. So.
Yeah.
Yeah, but we'll see.
And I'm not even originally from here, and I see that.
Yeah.
I've only been here, 9 years, 8 years? If that?
I've been here 10.
7 years, yeah.
Yeah, and I'm like, I see this monopoly type thing going on.
Where are you from?
I'm originally from Kansas City.
Oh, yeah, duh.
And then I moved, to Michigan.
Oh, okay.
My dad got transferred to automotive.
Okay.
And we moved up to Michigan, and then that's where I played and started coaching.
Yeah.
And then I got an opportunity to work with the Western New York Flash, the pro, when they had the NWSL team.
Yeah.
And because I always wanted to coach pro and see what that was like, and that kind of is where I got the self-awareness of like, I didn't want to coach college. I didn't want to coach at the pro level. I wanted to just focus on having my own training company and work with kids and technique and stuff like that.
Exactly.
So, yeah.
Well, that's the basis. If they don't have it, then how are they going to become pro?
Yeah. And again, one coach with 18 players, they can't work with they can work with on technique, but they don't want to. A lot of them neglect it, and they roll a ball out and say, okay, we're going to scrimmage today, and then they scrimmage every single practice. It's like, well, we're not developing.
Where's the short shirt long? Where's the ticky tacky passes?
Exactly.
Where's the movement off the ball? Where's the
Yeah. 100%,
man. Start coaching again. He wants to coach so bad.
Yeah. You got to build out a staff. You got to build out a staff there, and then, and then you open up your time because you got to be slammed.
Yeah. We are.
Between the sport teams and what I do from 9 to 7 or whatever, But again, if I have this thing, then we can start to, plug people in, and then I can start doing this because,
Yeah. Love it.
It's just we have to build the foundation first before we build the house.
Yeah.
So.
2 years in?
Like
No, 2.5 years.
2.5.
Yeah.
And you're already on your second location?
Yeah.
Well, it's not really second. We only have one location.
Yeah.
But we just moved.
I meant like your second building.
Yeah,
Your
so
second-
because we've expanded, we expanded out of the first one, and now we're in this
How
one.
did you get out of the first one? That quickly?
Same
Same
landlord.
He offered
Ah.
it. Yeah. He offered because I wanted to be in the Village of Kenmore. That was like where we wanted to start.
Same complex or just same landlord?
Same landlord.
I got it.
Yeah.
Wow. Got it.
Same
That's
landlord,
nice.
probably 1,000, 1,200 more square foot.
Wow.
And also, he was only charging $100 more for rent, so we paid $2,100 for rent, and we were doing $2,000 at the other space, and I was like, this is a no-brainer. It was kind of annoying because a year ago we kind of had to take out of our own savings and put it into the building to kind of make it look nice, but I mean we made the return, so yeah. But we walked in there and we're like, oh, we probably shouldn't move because we're still
young,
building
we're
clientele, we shouldn't move at all, but we're like, something is telling us we gotta move, we gotta do it.
And then boom.
But that's it's risk and reward. So you have to take risks as an owner, but you have to take strategic risks. So that was what we thought was a strategic risk, and it paid off. So
Love it.
Yeah.
And then sky's the limit, really, because you guys are needed, and it's something.
Yeah.
I wish your strategy, your concept, your methodology was more common than, well, let's just go to a running coach, or let's just go and lift, a lifting coach.
Because our backgrounds are all in exercise science, so we can do all the strength work. We can do the rehab work.
Right.
We can do the recovery work. We can do the, and we have different facets, such as like dietitians. We have massage therapists on site. We have a chiropractor. I have a sport and spine doctor that I'm associated with. So we have all these facets that, hey, if this person needs something else, plug and play.
Right. Whereas all these other places that they're going to is, all right, Tuesday's leg and back.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it's like, okay, that's not making you that great of an
athlete. Weightlifting is good, but
of course.
there's a lot of stuff out there that look at what is it? Is it Marshawn Lynch or was it Derrick Henry? He only does band workout or a band.
Well, Tom Brady was like that too, but
he doesn't do any weightlifting.
Yeah.
Like he doesn't lift weights with weights. He just does it with bands.
Yeah, and he's ridiculous.
He's a freaking animal.
Right, and
he's a refrigerator with legs.
That's great. Another great all-time athlete is Charles Woodson. Charles Woodson never lifted ever, and he's one of the best NFL players of all time.
Yeah.
And it's and then Mahomes is mostly just all the pliability and stuff. You don't know what Josh Allen does very often because he doesn't post his workouts and stuff. But
he went to a college that he wasn't really supposed to be anywhere, and then all of a sudden, look at him.
Yep.
He was looked over, and look at Brandon Bean. Found a nugget in the mud.
Diamond in the rough.
Mm-hmm.
But man, anything else?
And that's why I want these create this place to have exposure for all these athletes that don't really get it, and to give them all these things that will make them the round athlete, a perfectly rounded athlete that need to be, who they want to be and where they want to go. D1, D2, D3.
Is there a sport or is there a type of athlete that is a better athlete than other sports? Like, is this basketball player?
We find that
usually the basketball players are more athletic than the.
We're finding that the football players are a lot tighter because they do all the lifting, you know. But the basketball players, some of the basketball players are tight, super tight.
Yeah.
A bit. Yeah, their hips are super tight. Hockey players. I'm seeing hockey players that are like tight hips.
Yeah.
So.
Usually the ones that have the most mobility are the goalies with hockey players.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah,
You see them doing the frog pose before they start their games.
Yeah, for sure. There used to be a thing. This is before my time, but my mentor used to always talk about this. That there used to be a show called Wide World of Sports.
Yeah, I've seen
and
it.
basically what it is athletes from all these different sports compete in one competition of testing how athletic they are.
Yeah.
And the soccer player would always win,
Yeah.
supposedly. That's what he says.
Well, because they have the endurance.
And I
the
feel
footwork.
like
The footwork.
I feel like you have all facets of athleticism.
Yeah.
The agility, you're moving in multiple ways. There was a Castrol Syntec test, and they put Cristiano Ronaldo against an Olympic sprinter. The Olympic sprinter blew him away in straight. You were talking about this earlier. In straightaway speed, the Olympic sprinter blew Ronaldo away.
Yeah.
But then they did a zigzag test,
Oh, yeah.
and Ronaldo was better than the Olympic sprinter. So
Yeah. And then he like goes and beats a Lamborghini or something like that. You seen that one?
yeah, I mean, yeah. But what's your day like today?
Back to the business and doing that.
Start
and
at
then we
3?
have
One.
women's basketball.
Oh, yeah.
UB
Yeah.
Final Four. Let's go, ladies. 6:00.
6. Okay.
Let's go, ladies. They play Cleveland State tonight, so shout out to all of them.
Oh, yeah.
So we'll be there and rooting them on. Hopefully they can get in the NIT championship, WNIT championship, and I don't know who they would play, but I think it's in Indiana, but I might be wrong.
Yeah. They don't know where it would
That's
be.
awesome.
Yeah.
Monday.
So
Awesome.
I mean, there's some amazing girl. Chella just went over 2,000 points, career points, and Lonnie is an absolute phenomenal. Tara out in the 3-point line.
Yep.
Yep. So Jordan underneath, phenomenal. Kristen. So yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're doing special things over there right now in the women's team. So
Yeah. You work with the men's. Any other football?
not yet.
Yeah.
But we're trying to weasel our way in.
You guys are already in.
I
Well,
think it'll help
were
us.
you already working with UB a lot in your previous
No.
professions?
Mm-mm.
You guys are 2 years in, and you guys already have like a collegiate team that you're working with.
Yeah, and
It's really good,
we
guys.
take their exercise science students too and do internships with them.
Wonderful.
So yeah, we have
Yep.
one right now, and then one just
Film.
with us yesterday.
Okay, film all that. Put it online.
Yeah.
I'm telling you.
And then we're
you
gonna
can learn
we're-
so much from you guys.
We're
Yeah.
trying to incorporate the men's Niagara University soccer team.
Okay.
So we're trying to collaborate with them here soon. So if anyone's interested in collaborating, let us know. Let us know. So,
Absolutely. I hope. Yeah. Never know. I mean, I know pretty close with the Canisius coaches.
Yeah.
As well on the women's side. Niagara women's.
yeah,
I know
and the thing
Niagara
is, we
women's
can do it just one day a week.
Yeah.
You know, just for recovery.
Yeah.
Because I know time is precious, so there's not enough time in the day. So we do one day a week, and we do some, probably about 2 hours, probably 2 hour window of recovery work,
Yeah.
and see we do a stretch and massage combo where we do that, and it's working out.
Love it. That's exciting.
Hmm.
Yeah.
You're in that it's that stage where it's like it's super stressful
Yeah.
and it's super exciting and rewarding
Yeah.
because it's like you're like I built this, we built this.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, she's been doing a lot of good work, so she definitely has a good foundation. I just joined her, so.
Yeah,
Love
it's
it.
been like basically. I mean, he's helped me part time, but it wasn't until literally this week that he
Yeah.
went completely full time.
So she wanted to kind of quit and do that, and I was like, you know what, I'll do what I'm doing for a little bit, and then have you kind of build the thing, and it was working out, and then now we just need another person. So I was like, okay, enough with what I'm doing. I'm transitioning over, because literally what I would do would be go to work and then go to SOB for the rest of the night.
Right.
And then, so it was exhausting and stuff, and then go,
For sure.
So I thought it was time, and if we want to become what we want to become, we have to fully commit.
Yeah.
So
putting your full time and energy into it.
yeah.
And then did it start out as a side hustle at the very
Yes.
beginning for you too?
Yeah, so I mean, obviously this was never a plan to have the business at all. But when I was working on my physical therapy assistant degree, I worked at a place that did assisted stretching, and that's how I got started into it. Again, never really thought it was going to be like a thing that I would do forever. I thought I was going to be working in the physical therapy world forever. But then, I realized how much it was helping people and how much Buffalo lacks in having like places to go and like learn how to move better and whatnot. So while I was at that place and working on my second degree there, I was like, oh, it'd be kind of crazy if like we established like this business where we like taught people to move better. And like also going back to the whole physical therapy thing, the whole foundation of physical therapy is getting people to move properly and teaching them how to move properly. So I was like, if we can create a business that like teaches those things and like helps people with that, then like maybe we won't need physical therapy as much. We're still gonna need it because it's still helpful, but maybe we can just help people a whole lot more. So then I graduated. I quit that place because I wanted to work more physical therapy. Worked in physical therapy for a little while, and it was like an idea again, still that we had, but we didn't really act on it. And then like I went and filed my DBA. Actually, yesterday, I got a notification. It was like 2021, I think I filed the DBA or something, and I was like, I'll just do this on the side, like every once in a while. I wasn't really like pushing towards it, whatever, but it wasn't until like 2.5 years ago, maybe like 2.5 years ago, where we're like, hey, maybe we should actually like make this a thing. And what kind of stunk is like I had a good clientele at the place I was working at, fully stacked clientele, but then I stepped away from that, so I lost a lot of their numbers and contact with them. So I was working in the PT clinic, and then we just opened up SOB. Like we shouldn't have, when you look at like the stats of like starting a business, you usually want a clientele, you usually want like certain things, right? I probably had like 1 or 2 clients, and then we're just like, let's just do it, because something inside of us was like, I think we're gonna be fine if we just try. So ever since we opened up, I mean, we've always been able to pay bills. We never went behind on bills. Some months we were just making it, or just making like $100, or making the bare minimum,
right?
But I mean, that's what we had to do to grow. So yeah, it was just like a little idea at first, and then a tiny little side hustle that I was seeing people every once in a while was like sharing space with some other places that were kind enough to let me go and do my thing. But again, I was really pushing more towards being in physical therapy forever, and then we were just talking and we're like, let's just do it. I mean, the worst that can happen is it fails, and we can continue to work our regular jobs. It's not like we're not going to have a job if it fails,
Right.
We can still be in somewhat the field. So we just decided to do it, and it's been working out great ever since. So I've been stretching people, I think this is almost 7 or 8 years now that I've been doing the hands-on work with him. And then he joined me about 2.5 years ago, 3 years ago, with the stretching. But then, yeah, we just decided to do the business like 2.5 years ago. So
how does your internships work? Do you pay them, or does the school come and pay you? How does that work?
So no, it's completely, I don't get paid, they don't get paid.
Okay.
So it's just completely like we volunteer.
Course credit, essentially.
Yeah,
Okay.
so the students, technically the students are paying for the internship because they're paying through the university. But
Because it's credit.
yeah, so
Got it.
depending on what they're, so like if they're like physical therapy, a lot of like exercise students are going for physical therapy or going athletic training or like sports med,
Yep.
like doctors or something. So depending on their program, they need a certain amount of hours of like shadowing, practicum, etc. Or if you're just doing an exercise science degree and that's it, then that requires other hours and everything. So it really depends on what the student needs. But I mean, they're paying the university to take these credits, but they need those credits they need the experience in order to graduate. Like I had to do a practicum when I was in college, working my exercise science degree. And then like with physical therapy, I had to do clinical rotations. And the same thing with him for athletic training. He had to do clinical rotations
Right.
in order to get his degree. So basically that hands-on experience in a field.
Yeah.
So
Wow.
yeah, so we don't get paid, they don't get paid, but I love educating. And there's some things as a student, whether I was physical therapy, doing my clinical rotations, or I was doing my practicum, there were some things that it was like I was like a student, I was like an inconvenience to some of these people that I was coming in and trying to learn from. But like as a student, you're so excited to learn things, and you're so excited to finally get in the field and like not just work at Dairy Queen like I did for like my first 8 years of my working life. So you're so excited to just not be doing that anymore, and you want to learn so much. But there's some like clinical advisors, and there's some internship advisors that are just like, oh, you're a student, you're just gonna sit here and watch. You're just gonna like I'm not really gonna be hands on with you. And like as a clinical instructor or as a internship advisor, supervisor, I want to be as educational as possible, because as a student, like that is probably the most the biggest time that you're going to be so excited to learn things. And you're going to be excited as you get older too, but like when you're in school, you're just like, you want to absorb everything, right? To be like the best when you get out of school. And so I wanted to make sure that as like a clinical instructor or a supervisor, that we were trying to educate them and get them hands-on, as hands-on as much as possible,
right?
To get them more prepared for the real life, because there was definitely, like I said, some people that I've had in the past that I worked with, and it was like they barely talked to me. And it was actually another student. This was when I was down in Pennsylvania. It was another student who was educating me, another physical therapy student who was educating me on stuff. And I was like, why are you teaching me, and why isn't my supervisor teaching me? So those are just some things as a
and the thing is, like if you're working at PT clinic, there's a lot of stuff that you can't be hands on till you're actually you're licensed or you're certified and stuff like that. So which is going to be kind of cool for anyone that comes with us, is because we'll be able to get you hands on and stuff when you're ready, when we think that you're ready.
Yeah, we can do like a little bit of hands on, but you can also help us like programming and other stuff too, where
class development.
If you are doing like I said, like a lot of exercise science, like the one student that we have right now, she's exercise science, but she wants to be a PT one day. But if she goes to a PT clinic, like she's gonna be able to put hot packs on people, and she's gonna be able to like
maybe STEM, maybe.
No.
STEM
nothing.
pads.
No, nothing. Literally, they're just like sitting there shadowing the whole time. And I mean, that's fun. You learn a lot, but like the more hands-on you can get, the better. The better for yourself.
Because that's experience.
Yeah, absolutely. So again, me and that student, actually Monday, we're just having a conversation because she's looking for a full-time internship next semester, and she's like, what are some places that like I can go to do like my clinical? And she was talking about PT clinics, and I was like, honestly, find somewhere where you can get more hands-on work and more like someone who's going to educate you more. So I gave her some recommendations, some places that either I've worked or I've heard good experiences through where they learned a lot, and she's going to try to look into those just so she can get that hands-on experience, because that'll make her a better practitioner in the end too, if she's able to get as much hands-on versus just sitting here talking and like absorbing everything.
Everyone can put a heat pack and an ice pack on.
Yeah.
There's an online course that you guys could do. I'm telling you. I'm telling you guys.
Like, you could just be our business mentor now.
Like, oh, man. And when you were talking about those guns that you were talking about, I'm like, oh, affiliate marketing. Boom.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, just sign up, you know.
That's true.
What are your thoughts? This is random. Actually, first of all, are you guys like just an LLC now or an S corp? Okay.
I'm probably after this year we're gonna be S corp.
Yeah. My sister is and her husband are business owners as well, and they say like S corp is a little bit more. You can do more stuff with your taxes and stuff. Supposedly.
There's more.
I'm an LLC. I don't know.
Yeah.
But I don't know why I asked that, because you just said you were talking about how you were a DBA, and then. Fitness trackers and or like Whoop bands for measuring your
we have
recovery. What do you guys?
We haven't really tackled or kind of dipped our foot in any of that stuff yet. Within the future, maybe. But I mean, we both have Apple Watches and stuff.
Same.
Oh, you forgot yours.
Which I forgot.
I love my Apple Watch.
Yeah.
Mine too.
I love it. The only thing I just get mad that I have to charge it at night because I want it to like track my sleep, but it doesn't.
That's the
because
thing.
I have to charge it. That's the
same.
only downfall. But there's like those new those Aura rings.
Aura rings.
Is what they're called.
Yeah.
They track your sleeping.
Yep.
There's some other stuff too.
And that's the Whoop does, where it's the charger actually just magnetizes onto it, and you just sleep with it on.
Oh, okay. Interesting.
But I was just wondering, because we have a couple athletes that have them, and
yeah, I mean,
and then I had another athlete that said, "Oh, I don't believe in them." I'm like,
yeah, I mean, all you see all like the EPL guys and whatever, they wear like the
GPS,
bra, the GPS thing. Nike used to do the thing where it's like the fitness tracker inside the shoe.
Yeah, the Nike Fitness Plus.
Yeah,
I remember that.
You just put it inside your insole and then.
I had that.
Yeah.
Oh, wow, I forgot about that.
And then now they have the thing. This is for soccer athletes. You put it on the heel of your cleat, and it tracks your
touches and
stuff.
Yep,
like that.
that's a PlayMaker.
Yeah, that's what it is.
Yep, a lot of our players have that as well.
And then now they have that video, the thing, the 360 video thing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but I was just wondering because I wonder if somebody comes in with a whoop and it's saying their recovery is this, or
any stat is awesome for us to be able to look at.
And then I would wonder what that would look like compared to your assessment in terms of, okay, this is what the data says, this is what our assessment, and see if it correlates, if it's spot on.
That'd be sweet.
Yeah, that would be really cool.
But just wondering, just a random thought.
Yeah.
Because I believe in it.
Yeah, I mean, the thing is, a lot of people like to, and that's what I like to do, is base things off of stats and numbers and results.
I mean, that's one of the reasons why we got that AI tool now.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, it's a big data thing. It's one thing for, like, us to, like, if you were to get on the table and we stretched you and you were like, hey, Jason, you're tight here, here, and here, you'd be like, oh, okay, and, like, you'd believe us. But if, like, you go and do this, like, assessment that is literally telling you exactly what we just said, just restating, showing you each range of motion score and exactly where your deficits are and everything, then you're like, oh, wow, like, you trust that person a little bit more. So like we've been successful without this system, but like it's just helping validate what we do. Even
how does that work again? Is it a scan? Is it like
so it's this little camera. It's on like a little tripod, just like your cameras. And it shoots out these like little infrared lights at you, and you do these different movements. There's 65 different movements we could do, but we don't do all 65. That would take forever. But we kind of break down like what movements are most important, and then we take people through those functional movements. And that camera just while you're doing that, you do it like 2 or 3 times in each movement. We record it, and then it literally gives us a fully automated report of like your range of motion scores at every joint. Again, if you're like have weakness in like certain areas in your body, or if like you need to stretch too, so in certain areas.
If I have players that are just complaining about pain anywhere, can I just send them to you, and then
absolutely,
and then you guys can hopefully figure it out.
Yeah, for sure.
I used to have a guy that was really good here.
So it's more like an athlete training clinic, but without. Even though I'm an athlete trainer, but we're not really treating you in our facility, even though we have the background and knowledge of physical therapy and athlete training.
Right.
We're doing the same techniques and all this other fun stuff. We're just not treating you under the term.
And you could still do the cupping or the scraping
still doing
and
everything.
all that stuff that could also help them. Because I used to have a guy, and he's gone. He's in Tampa. He kind of retired, semi-retired, and I was like, I've been lost because I used to just send every single injured player to them.
Yeah.
And you guys are now that.
Yeah, perfect.
SOB.
We'll take it.
We're not going anywhere anytime soon.
Yeah.
So.
Are you guys? Whoa! Thankfully that was empty. Are you originally from Buffalo?
Yes.
Okay.
Cheektowaga, Vegas.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah. Man. We did another hour. After I hit record back, we did another hour.
Yeah. You have some good content.
Absolutely. And then I'll make clips and all that stuff. I'll send out the full thing. Okay. I'll edit some of that out, some of the business stuff probably, or the collab stuff I'll probably cut out. And then I'll send you guys a copy.
Okay.
Sometime next week.
Perfect.
And then you guys could just tell me anything that you want out. But for the
perfect.
Appreciate you guys.
Yeah, let me know
Great
about.
to meet you.
Let me know about training.
A lot of our players hate juggling. They hate juggling because they can't juggle. They can't juggle because they don't juggle. Juggling a ball gives your coach instant feedback of your relationship with the ball. And in this guide, we offer 22 of our juggling challenges from PlayMaker Training, where you can build your relationship with the ball. Check out the guide at playmakertraining.com/juggling.
I hate soccer.